Yeah, you there, Richie?
Yeah, you can hear me yet?
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
live.
Yeah, I can hear you good. Give enough people enough time to come in. Let me set this up. Get everything situated. Yeah, we're
Get
gonna
up
talk.
in there, people. Get up in there. Get up in there.
Yeah,
Let's see what's ready.
today we're gonna talk about. Hold on a second. Today, this conversation is gonna be about why couples cheat. You know, I've been watching a lot of shows. With my wife. You got some feedback, Rich.
Is that from me or you?
It's from you.
I don't want to.
Okay. Yeah, I've been watching different shows. I've been across YouTube, and I've been hearing people talk about cheating in couples. And one of the underlying things I've been hearing is uh, uh, men. These men ain't shit. I hear the men saying that there's a lot of feedback, Rich.
1 second.
All right, yeah, Gibson. Yeah, what's up, Tony Davis? Hold on, let me play. I'm gonna play my intro music real quick to start this thing off before we really go into what we talk about. I'm gonna drop the after I play this song. I'm gonna Tony Davis, Yafa Zion. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. This is an open panel. This is just not gonna be George on his soapbox talking. This is a discussion that I actually want everybody to take place in. I'm gonna lay out what I'm trying to say, but then I'm gonna open the panel. I'm gonna drop the link, and I want you guys to come on in. But I'm gonna play my intro music real quick, so that way y'all can get a premise. Because I'm ready. It's ready to get real ugly tonight. It's gonna get real ugly. Mute up real quick, Rich. Let's play our intro music. Damn. I don't think y'all ready for. I don't think y'all ready for Georgia this topic tonight. Hey, Richie. I don't think y'all ready, man.
You're killing it with that tune.
Hey. I had to hit him with some Stan Mosley, man. See, y'all got to really look at this though. When you're dealing with Stan Mosley, he's saying that your wife is my woman. She sleeps with me and she sleeps with you. So you got to do. He's sleeping with another man's wife. Most likely, that man got a wife. Yeah, I mean, these couples are cheating. He called a man on the phone. He said, we both can lose it, and it would not be fair. I'm willing to work it out. Could we just share? he said, you're a good provider, and I'm a good lover. She needs us both, my brother. What are we going to do?
God damn.
Hey, that song is pimping at its finest, man. But when we really get to what I want to do is I'm gonna put the link in the chat because I actually want to bring people on for this. This is the link coming into the chat because actually I'm gonna lay out what I want to say, and then look at Danny, man. Hey, go. Everybody, as y'all come in, click on True Historian, man, and subscribe to that channel, man. That's one of my teachers, man. All the stuff that y'all hear me talk about on this historical stuff, I get it from Danny, True Historian in here. I steal all his stuff and bring it right to y'all. So when y'all hear me going in, that thing right there, True Historian, I get it from Danny. I steal all his information and I bring it to the people. Now, on this YouTube, I hear a lot of different things, and I've spoken on this topic before, and I hear a lot of things where women will go on. A lot of times women will go on about how black men cheat, and how men do this and men do that, and there's thousands and thousands of videos about what black men do. I mean, just that what's the chick, Lonnie Love? She just did a video. She just was on The View or whatever that station is, talking about black men cheating. It's been since slavery and all these different things. But I'm here to tell y'all that for every black man that's cheating, there's a willing participant. And right now, we're not talking about white women, Asian women. I'm talking about black people. I'm pro-black. I'm talking about the black community. Black women cheat just as much as men do. Black women cheat on the jobs. See, we got this idea that the women that cheats is the scallywags. It's the scallywag chicks that's cheating, or the chicks that's selling coochie, where the working guy or the married man, he goes out and he gets the sex. No. For every man that's willing to step out, there's always a willing participant woman providing a service. And that woman has no look. There's no look to that woman. She's the housewife. She's the nerd. She's the booty shaking ratchet Riri. She's all of it. So the question is asked, why do black couples cheat? And it could be for many different reasons. It could be that, a lot of people have ideas of wanting to be married. They have dreams of wanting to be married and being in a relationship, but don't have the slightest clue of what it takes to obtain and maintain a relationship. You got a lot of people. Hold on, let me turn my TV down. You got a lot of people getting into relationships. Without the slightest clue. you got a lot of girls and guys that think that maybe if I sex them or sex her right, they'll act right in a relationship. And you find out real fast that that's not what keeps a person in a relationship. You get some people that try to overcompensate, give her money, take her places, or give her money, and that doesn't work. So the question is, there's many reasons as to why couples cheat, but I think the problem is, are we honest about certain things when we're actually trying to fix the problem? Because what I notice is, I see a lot of blame pointed on both sides, but we never really get down to the issue that's causing the cheating. You'll hear, well, you wasn't paying enough attention to me. Or after we had the kids, you forgot about me. Or so many different things. Just listen to the arguments. And you got to know that every relationship is different. What might work for me in my household might not work for you and yours. So the question is, in this open panel, the link is there. I want some people to come up. I want to, because see, I can go all day about, in my opinion, but I want to hear from the people. Where Topaz at? Get up here, Topaz. Let's talk about why couples cheat. You know, a lot of people, like I said, got the idea of being in a relationship, Richie, but a lot of them don't understand the commitment and the sacrifice that it takes to actually be in a relationship. Having to share space with somebody.
Definitely.
Yeah, having to share a space, having to share your time, having to cater to other people outside of your own. Being in a relationship is hard. It's not easy. Like you actually, when you're in a relationship with somebody, and I'm not even talking about marriage yet, you're actually responsible for other people's feelings. You're actually responsible for other people's emotions and how you outside of your own. A lot of you people don't know how to handle that because everything is surrounded around you and what makes you happy. And if that person is not making you happy, then you're not willing to actually participate in a relationship that will be able to sustain itself. Yeah, Rich, you got a lot of feedback. I don't know why.
Hold on. Let's see my shit.
Oh yeah, we starting to fill it up now. They coming in now.
Also,
you know, yeah, you know, I hear a lot of, I'm telling you, I hear a lot of people, I listen to this Manosphere, I listen to a lot of the women channels, and all of, you know what I've noticed, Ali? I have never, very rare, in any of these spaces, heard people take responsibility for themselves and them actions, whether it's the men or the women. It's always either or. Somebody's the problem. I have never heard anybody come on and really break this down where they say, you know what, man, I got in a relationship, man, and I really wasn't ready, man. I was cheating on a man. You know what? She got an attitude problem, but I done her wrong. Or a woman come up and say, you know what, man, I was fucking the guy at the job on my boyfriend, man. And I messed up. He was a good dude. No, we try to find ways to put it on the other person. And the people that's listening and some of your friends, they don't call you out and tell you when you're wrong. And the saga just goes on and on and on and on. But couples are cheating at an alarming rate. A lot of people are in relationships where they just paying bills, taking care of children, living in the house. He's screwing a girl at the gym, you screwing a nigga at the job. And they come home and smile on each other's face like ain't nothing happened. Because a dude be have a chick in the tuck, but a woman I have a nigga in the tuck too, always. Because a lot of times women come into relationships with men with baggage from being hurt. So they already got preconceived notions about how the relationship going to go. So they keep a nigga in the tuck just in case. So we already go into relationships messed up. Go ahead, Ali.
No, I was saying, say that shit, George. That shit too real there.
Yeah, we got Topaz. We got a female's perspective on the panel too. I want to get another woman up here because I don't want it to just be men. Because I want to do is have a real conversation. And you know how we do over here, Ali. We don't really go into I blame the women, I blame the men. We deal with the issues and we deal with the problem. And a lot of times, because a lot of black men aren't toward standards, we get with a girl, but we like damn near every girl we see. So we can be with a girl and giving her all our resources and assets, but still cheat. A girl get with a guy, and some girls play just like dudes. But then you get with a lot of times you get with a girl and you always arguing and having problems with her. She want to go through your phone because she already been stung by a dude. So she already come in with preconceived notions. So she keep Daryl on the top. And every time y'all go through something or separate for 2 weeks or a month, she let Daryl hit. It go on in the hood all the time. So we got Topaz on. I want to bring Topaz in and let everybody give their intro before we really go in deep. Go ahead, Topaz.
Well, hey, George Macon. Hi, Black Ice and what, Dizali? Yeah. Thanks for having me on the panel.
Always, you're welcome.
Yeah, so you came in my chat earlier trolling, talking about women cheat, and then you gonna call my sign out. First of all, Scorpios are faithful. Thank you very much. We don't do all that. Okay. You see my screen name, Topaz the Faithful. All right. I'm putting it out there just so I want you to know, you specifically.
Okay. So let me ask you though, in your opinion, from a woman's perspective, why do you think couples cheat? Or just period, and women cheat, period?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and be truthful. Yes, women do cheat. I don't, because I don't like all of that come with it, and I don't have the attention span for that. I'm set in my ways. But from what I know, the women that do cheat is usually, like, this is the thing. They won't admit it, but from what I hear when they tell me the reasons why they cheat, is usually because it's a self-defeatist attitude. It's kind of like get them before they get you. They don't believe that they're capable of getting a man to be faithful to them, so they'll just go ahead and do that, and then they believe it'll hurt less if the guy leaves because they were cheating anyway. But that never works. So they have to grow up and realize that that's not gonna work. You just got to get rid of the dude, and cheating on him is not the answer.
So let me ask you, how come, and I want you one from a woman's perspective. I'm just asking it. Hold on for a second. Hey, Richie, take over real quick. I got to answer this call real quick.
Yeah, big up everybody. I hope everyone can hear me fine. Big up Topaz. First time me and you have spoken.
Right.
Zaddy, we've conversated many times before. All I gotta say on it, on a quick one from my perspective, is lack of accountability, and as George was saying earlier, is value system. What you think of yourself based on past experiences. So as as we touched on, if you've already had bad experiences, you're trying to preempt something happening, you're trying to hedge your bets, like the sister just said. So a lot of people are doing things off of GP that they think is happening on the other side to begin with, plus the fact, as George said, and as we all know in today's society, there's a lot of selfish behaviors going on. It's all about me. So if you already have that and go into a relationship thinking it's only about my emotions, my investment in myself, and you never get to those deeper levels and you only deal with the superficial of looks, money, the usual dick, pussy game, that is not going to be a foundation to lay down on. And, one thing you got to understand when it comes to sex, when it comes to relationships, that's a mental situation. You can plug gaps with superficial stuff, with the looks, with sex, with the money, but it's only a plugging of gaps. And that's my opinion on why a lot of the time the cheating comes. And people just, as as I said, rather than deal with the problem honestly that you have in relationships across the board, people would rather be unaccountable and just find an outlet rather than having to deal with the tougher situation of sitting down across from that person who you are supposed to be committed with and deal with the situation.
Hey, let me ask
Diesel, talk to us, brother. Now, what's your opening statement on this subject?
Oh, no, George back. George wanted to ask a question out. I'll go after George.
I'm going to ask a quick question because I might have to mute up again for a second. I'm waiting for my doorbell to ring. But I got a question for Topaz again.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me still, sister?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Until he comes back on, you got anything else to add to what I just put in?
Yo, can y'all
and
hear
remember, it's an open panel, people.
Hey,
The link is in the chat.
Richie,
go ahead, sis.
You and George talking at the same time. George back, brother.
He can't hear me.
You hear me? Richie, you're gonna have to go out and come back in, man.
Yeah, something wrong with his
Topaz, tell him that he's gonna have to go out and come back in more than likely.
Okay, I think he just left now.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to add. I'm glad I got a woman. I want to get another female here because this is the thing, right? And Ali up here, we like I like to get to the meat of the problem. I don't like to point fingers, but where we come from in our communities, we know that men are known for being called dogs, guys cheat. And I think one of the main problems is there's the black woman where we come from, the cheater, they've given a specific look to the cheater. Where I'm saying that black women, no, all black women from all different groups cheat. But the stay-home mom, the professional businesswoman, she's looked at as a person that don't cheat. And the problem that you have is a lot of women don't call their girlfriends out. Where a dude would be like, man, first of all, dude's always trying to get to a girl, so a dude a tell on another dude just to get close to a girl. Women don't do that.
Yep, they will.
Women to cover her girlfriend, and we'd be like, man, you know your girlfriend a hoe. Why don't you just be like, oh man, I don't know. Man, she just told you she was going over Fred crib.
But you know why we don't tell on our girlfriends? Because then we get lumped in that, because men believe women of a feather flock together. So if we tell on our girlfriends, it's like, well, why are you hanging out with her? And the answer to that question for real is because there's other qualities. I'm not sleeping with her, so her cheating doesn't affect me. She can be a good friend and a horrible girlfriend or wife. And so I'm hanging out with her for those benefits. So when we tell on her, then it's like, oh, well, you must be doing it too. So we don't say nothing.
But you know what? The men in the community don't get that same benefit of the doubt. And that's why I said in the chat room earlier, I said, do you know for every man that cheat, there's a willing participant. There's a woman.
Right, I know.
And what happens is, that's what, when we do this thing, why do couples cheat? What happens is this battle line's drawn because we don't tell the truth.
Right.
There's no truth being told. And I'm like, listen, women be cheating like crazy. Yeah, you know what I mean? But and another thing is too, as a man, I'm gonna say this to the brothers in the chat. As a man, when we can cheat all day, right? But when we meet that girl that we really like, we put her on a standard way up here. And she could be the biggest hoe on the south side. But because you don't know her business like that, you like her, you hold her to a higher standard than yourself.
George, if you're talking, I can't hear shit from your mic. You know that.
You can't? Hold on for a second. Let me see something real quick. I wonder why.
Can you hear me, Richie? Black Eyes. He just left.
No, he went out again.
All right. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah. What we do, and I know all the guys agree with this. When we meet that girl that we like, and this is why when we catch y'all cheating, it's hard for us to forgive you. Because we separate y'all from the floozies and the hoes that we used to dealing with. Not my girl.
Right.
Not my girl. So when we do find out, we're devastated. Where women already got a preconceived notion about men, period, in our culture, these niggas ain't shit. So I'm just get with this.
So basically, we got a vaccine against the hurt, but y'all are told that women don't. So it, it comes as a shock. Well, let me ask this. So when you find the girl that you like, do you like her because you've seen something that leads you to believe that she won't cheat on you? Or do you like her and then feel like, okay, well, if I like her and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, women don't cheat. And so then you give her a benefit of the doubt that she didn't earn.
Wait, Ali, you want to get that, Ali?
I was going to say, from what I've experienced, well, a man's arrogance leads him to always think that his woman won't cheat on him anyway. That is in us.
Yeah,
biologically.
It could be many different reasons. It could be by the way he was raised. He might get a guy. I use different scenarios. You might get a guy, and it depends on what his standards is, Topaz.
Mm-hmm.
He might look at this girl and say, "Man, this girl complete me. She's the one." Mm-hmm. You might get a guy that got money, and he say, I've been in different places and I like this chick. You might get a guy that's known for slaying chicks, and he feel like, man, I know what I do to this woman. She ain't never doing that with me. But you don't never know the upbringing and the character of the woman that you're dealing with. You don't know where she's coming from or what baggage she got coming into the relationship. But when we like a woman as a man, not see, women don't understand us at times. Not a chick that you just like having sex with. Right. I'm talking about when you like this woman.
You like her entirety, not just
we put her next to mama. There's a difference. Mm-hmm. That's when we answering all your calls. We even being step pop to the kid that ain't ours. We coming to pick you up. We spending our resources, all of that. When she cheat on us, we devastated. It's like almost impossible to come back from that.
Yeah.
Because we and then on top of that, matter of fact, remember that movie? What's the name of that movie? The black movie when the one boy was the football player and his
best man.
Yeah. I'm telling you, men with the ego. All he kept picturing was the boy sleeping with his woman. And with us,
and he forgot about all the chicks that he smutted out while with her, and she stayed. He forgot about all that. That's the only thing that mattered.
But listen, Topaz, this is where women make the mistake. We can't compare ourselves to each other because we operate in different ways.
Right. I agree.
And the thing is, for a man, see, I'm gonna tell you something about a man. A man, when I'm trying to use the right words. When you choose me, see one thing about a man knows that women has thousands of options. You walk down the street, Topaz, you get cracked on 42 times on one block. so now when you choose me, that means there was something special about me. It had to be something special about me because out of all the men that try to get at her, she chose me. So now when you cheat on me with this man, it had to be something even more special about this man to make you step out on me. And everything that you did with me, you did with him. And we can't get that out of our head because we thought we was chosen. See the difference? That's where women don't understand. And so it's kind of like that's why you hear the terms when guys, man, fuck that bitch and this hoe, because now we're mad because see, remember, you chose me out of the 2,000 men that tried to get. I'm special, but then I found out I wasn't so special.
So then it's like you lied. How could you choose me? Why you tell me you chose me and then didn't really choose me?
Right.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you, Topaz, see, and I'm not saying that the man is exonerated from his behavior. I'm just getting to the issues of how we think. So that way we can start fixing problems instead of
because I got some questions too. So I'm glad that you said that.
Yeah, absolutely. I want you to ask all the questions you can. I'm gonna put the link in the chat again because I want to have at least 3 guys, 2 women up here because I don't want it to be just a dude perspective. I want a woman perspective. Right. I want you to go hard, ask those questions because the thing is, I don't like the panels where it's one side is all men fault, then you got another side is all women fault. Man, fuck all that. Yeah. That's
annoying because we're not gonna get to the answer of nothing if we are separated, just all women talk about men all the time, men only talk about it. We have to have these panels where we're together, and it's gonna have some friction in it, but we got to get through it. I've been saying that a lot lately. We got to go through it. We're not gonna be able to skip this.
Yeah, and so I'm asking because you're a female. I'm asking. I'm just speaking from a more male's perspective because I know when it comes to women in our communities, there's a lot of things that come in. There's a lot of things that come into play. I'm gonna say this, and I'll let some of the other brothers talk. I'm gonna say this: what I learned in my years of living. A lot of women coming from backgrounds that may have been touched, may have been abandoned, never had a father. A lot of these girls they'd rather have sex with you and you be cooler with them not being in a relationship, just having a sexual relationship. But when they got to be responsible for emotions and feelings that they are void of, man, that's a problem. And a lot of brothers don't understand that.
Because them being touched or them not having their father meant that they have to separate sex from feelings because that, you're taught that's how they're not taught to heal. They're taught that was just an act and let go of that and forgive the person for that act and your feelings need to be separate. You could, they're taught to separate them. And so when it's time to combine them back, that's why. And I actually have a stream that I'm gonna do soon about why we have girls that are getting naked for little or nothing on social media. That's one of the reasons why they're taught that it's not that big a deal. Because how else do you stay around family members and friends and neighbors that have touched you and you're not allowed to say nothing, not even allowed to be mad about it? How else do you survive that? By separating out sex from emotion.
Yeah, and what happens is a lot of them still have dreams of being girlfriends and wives, and they get relationships and they're not equipped. And a lot of men don't have the knowledge of this. So and then these guys, a lot of these boys aren't taught to have standards, so they get relationships and be couples. Now, how many of us know? Let's just keep it a buck, right? And the link is in the chat. So if anybody else want to come on, there's an open, jump right on in here. Where you at, Snuggle 668? Let's get in. Let's get in here. No, let's get it. Let's get it.
Well, I'm blunt, so if you, I just throw it out there. So I'm glad you cool with it.
No. That's what we do over here. Over here, man. B1 Network. We have B1 conversations, and the whole gist of our conversations is about pushing us forward.
Right. Exactly. Let's get it out there and deal with it, and then get through it, and then we'll be all right.
Yeah. So what happens is, because a lot of our boys aren't towards standards. How many of y'all know, if we keep in the book? Because I know we cover each other a lot, friendships. But how many of y'all know y'all got girlfriends or homies? They have relationships and they ain't shit. They got kids, they got everything, they ain't shit. And then we'll go and be hypocrites and be defending, man, ain't nobody doing this. Nah, listen, our standards and the way we operate, and I see my brother Black Gorilla, he said all races cheat. I agree with you, Black Gorilla Army, but today
we talking about black people today. The other races got to deal with their own stuff.
Yeah. We just talking about us and how we operate and why do black couples cheat and what's behind it. And I just think that we got to deal with the psychological effects. Where you at, Richie? You there, Richie?
I'm back.
Mic problem.
Okay.
I'm back.
Yeah. So Richie, in your opinion, why do you think why do you think all guys are looked at as dogs and girls? Girls are held to a certain standard where you don't know who the cheater is, or no, I take that back. There's a certain girl that's labeled a cheater, but all other girls are safe. Why do you think that is in our community?
Well, that's a media thing. That's an image that's being portrayed to you, that your cheater or your loose woman is, as you said, the stripper, the thought, the thing in the corner. They don't really focus on the average everyday woman. It's not that time. So, there's no gain in showing that most of the time in the media perspective. So that's why you have this particular image of a black woman that you think is associated with cheating, when, as I said, the image of what an actual cheater looks like comes in many shapes and sizes. You know what I'm saying? But that's a media driven perspective, when anybody can be disrespected, anybody can be undervalued, anybody can have these issues from past relationships and play them out by sleeping with other people. The opportunities there wherever. Again, this whole thing of thinking that cheating happens at the club, that's a misconception, because as me and you've talked about, cheating happens more work and these more basic places than getting doled up and going out for the night. It's not that complicated. It happens in a lot more simpler way. So I think that's one of the main reasons.
Naima, this open panel, Naima, hit that link. Come on up here, Naima, and join Topaz, man. She up here by herself with all these men.
You know what? And I'm used to it, because everybody always want to leave me hanging. It's cool. Since I talk so much, I might as well get it on out on the panel.
Hey, let me ask you, Topaz, because they say that men cheat everywhere. All he needs is a time and a place. And they talk about men might cheat at the job. He cheat at the gym. He cheat just riding down the street. But it was a study that said that most women cheat on the job, and that's where they at. Why do you think there's so many women? And because they're women cheat on the job, that means it's just not the hood rat chick on welfare.
Right.
Why do you think so many women are cheating on the job like that?
Because it's usually the only place they're allowed to be. So anywhere else that they go, like if you go to church, it's gonna be people watching you. There are women that cheat at church too. Let's just be real. But the assumption is that you're being watched, or either that you'll be so conflicted morally that you won't be able to live with yourself. So where are women allowed to go? If you have a woman that's going to the club every week, somebody in your life or in her life is going to eventually tell her that that's wrong, and she's going to be being watched, and she ain't going to have a chance to cheat at the club unless she just really don't care. But where is a woman allowed to go by themselves, where you're told you have to let her go and you can't sit outside her job to watch her? That's the only place where she gets any space to cheat. And that's the place where she's at the most outside of home. So whatever man is at the job with her got time to work on her and work on her and work on her. Or if it's the other way, she got time to work on him. So it's where she spends the most time, and it's a place where people don't follow you.
Man, it's like an epidemic too. It's like like the woman had all. It's like all these women have job boyfriends and shit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yes,
and that's how we get started, is because they're there all of the time. That's the second most, that's the second place you're at the most outside of home.
But I had a thing where I had a conversation with my wife one time, and I was like, I was fussing at her something about being so social and having conversation. Mm-hmm. And I said to her one day, I said, let me ask you a question. I said this to my wife one day. I said, when you first meet a guy, y'all just meet, say how you doing, and then go get a hotel room and do it? No, it starts with a conversation and then more conversations. But the guy's fishing. He's an explorer. He's exploring uncharted waters. Like I said, he's navigating. He's trying to see, and he's going to throw his hook in and see who bites the bait. So, but I'm gonna tell you what I've learned though. I used to think that women was naive to that, but what I'm learning is, man, women already know what dudes is. Like, she give them the attention because she want to give him the attention.
Say that shit, Joy. Say that
shit. Because you know what, I'm glad he the one that stepped that approached. Because if she didn't want to talk to him, she'd have been like, no, I'm good. She giving him the attention. But I was naive, thinking, you know what, man, these dudes just throwing it in there just to see, man. But if a girl don't want to give you her attention and time, man, she not gonna talk to you.
She gonna shut it down.
She gonna shut you down immediately.
Yep.
And now what I want to say to y'all though is, the shutting down of the dude don't always look the same, because there is, as a woman, there is the fear that you get that one ignorant dude that can't take no effectively. So, as long as she gets out of his company, that counts as her shutting him down. We can't just go out here, slamming niggas' ego into the ground like that. So as long as she gets away from him, that should count. But some men feel like, now you should have told him in no uncertain terms. Well, we can't act like that all of the time.
Hold it down.
We never know. It's a crapshoot. We never know which one is gonna act out like that. So we have to be careful with all of them.
Yeah, I gotta answer my door.
Okay.
I think it's just about. I hear you, sister. Because again, I think certain black women are very harsh, and I've seen it turn bad in the way they shut down certain men when they're not interested. But I think sometimes, especially with women, you have to understand that certain subject matters lead into certain places. So just having that mind state that sometimes it's not just, you don't have to necessarily say to this whoever the guy is that's talking to you, shut the fuck up, get away from me. But you have to be aware that certain subject matters will lead to other conversations. So if you're not really in it and you're not really trying to entertain it, and this goes for men and women, you got to know when to shut the conversation down or not go into certain things that are going to open the door for that shit.
Right.
But I think what happens is, what I'm alluding to is, when a woman don't want to talk to you, she'll let you know. But the thing is, when women sitting there smiling and laughing at all your jokes, having those 20 minutes conversations with you, next thing you know, y'all walking to lunch together on a job, all that shit. Man, to me, I used to be naive, thinking, you know what, man, she just being naive, don't even know he working her. No, she be wanting that shit.
Because you know what? Because then those women that do that, because I can tell you, I've done that when I was single, but not when I was in a relationship. And the reason is because you know, how do you get this guy to then, like, now you've taken all of these presents, you've taken all this attention, and then you now say, oh, okay, I'm gonna renew this with my real man. You have no guarantee that this dude is just gonna go away quietly after he done invested all of his time. So, you know, I do it when I'm single, but I haven't been married, but even in a relationship, I don't do that where you going to lunch and you bringing them stuff and all of that kind of stuff. No, because if I have a relationship, he needs to be bringing me lunch or either making sure I'm okay. If he can't, then I need to be single.
Yeah, let me ask you, Topaz. So for you, for a woman, a black woman, in today's time, what's, knowing all the climate that, you know, we talking about now and the climate of the black community, what's the ideal relationship, black relationship, in Topaz's eyes? What's the idea of black love and black relationship and commitment for you?
Well, okay, so in my personal view, what I think the word love means is, to me, it means that this is a person that I like everything about them. I like the combination of their experiences, how they handle it, how they think, their tendencies, their little quirks, their interests, their skills and abilities. I like their experiences. Like, I like this as a person, as a whole, it being in existence. I think that that's positive and needs to be replicated, and that is what I mean when I say love. And that's anything that I have. If I say I love something, that means I think that it should exist and I'm going to support it existing. So for me, black love means you found that person that you're choosing. They're not your relatives. You know, this is a person that you sought out, that you're not related to, that you are choosing to be around because you enjoy everything about them. And, you know, it has ups and downs. You have days where they get on your nerves or whatever. But overall, as a whole, the absolute value is, yes, you feel like this is a positive existence for somebody. So that's what it means to me.
How do you think we should deal with conflicts? Like, when I look at relationships today, man, that bitch get on my nerves. Fuck it, I'm out, man. I'm going over here. We go sleep with a girl, then come back home. But a girl should be talking to a dude through Facebook or whatever. The way we deal with conflicts now, like, it's no loyalty. How do we deal with conflicts? Like, we had a big argument, a big blow up, but I just go downstairs and sit on the couch. I don't leave out, or you don't look to talk to the dude on the job. How do we deal with that? How do we get back to right or wrong, weak or strong, we still with each other?
You mean like overall as a whole, or you mean like for couples specifically?
For couples specifically.
Okay. Well, like, both people have to, like, every day you wake up and both people are required to make a choice. And the relationship doesn't fail until one person or both people decide, today I'm gonna choose to be out. So for me, it's an active choice every morning. You wake up and you look around in your life, you see where you're living, you see who's in the house with you, and you are choosing to when you walk out the door, the things that you think about and choose to do are going to be to maintain that house and the people in it the way it is that day. If at any moment one or both of them choose to go out and do something that could bring damage in, or either choose to avoid doing something that would maintain that house, that's where the conflict is going to come in. So for me, the answer is both people have to, like, I would recommend for the couples, when they wake up in the morning, spend 10 minutes together, just making sure that y'all are still checked in and reminding the person of all that they have to lose. And that doesn't have to be a big speech, just like maybe sipping coffee together quietly, or, you know, whatever, something that has a connection, so that when you walk out your door, you know that you still have a connection that's back at that relationship. Did that answer what you're saying?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm just looking at in today's time as opposed to what it was even 20 years ago, because I'm in my 40s. So 20 years ago, and then you look at now with all the temptation and all the stuff that's like, everything is anti-relationship. Everything is get the bag and about me, I this, I that, I this. And I'm looking at the younger generation coming up behind us. I don't really see how we can maintain relationships.
Well, I think that one thing that we need to stop doing, because it's something that I was taught as a kid, human nature is evil. Everyone is evil. They're going to try to get you. They're going to try to use you. Nobody love you like your mama, blah, blah, blah. Family over everything. We're taught to mistrust one another. And then little boys are taught that when they grow up, that they are not a man until they sow all of their wild oats. And little girls are taught to expect that out of men and to try to play a game where the man is going to try to get what's in your clothes, and you have to try to keep him from doing that until you get him to where he's going to stay. The woman is told that she's stupid if you give it up and the dude leaves, marriage or not. That means you wasted your time and you're stupid. I think a lot of the things that we tell people about human nature and relationships brings us to believe that there's no hope. So if we feel like all human nature is evil, that you should never trust a person other than yourself, you're not going to take a connection with anybody seriously. And even if you do connect with somebody, there's going to be a part of your brain in the back that says, how do I really know I could trust this person? And all you need is that one seed of doubt. And that's where it comes from. So I think we need to start telling our kids something different about one another. Stop making them mistrust each other. Everybody's not like, because if I got to tell you, if somebody feels like I'm just automatically evil before they even met me, I'm going to be offended. So why would I not feel like me thinking that about somebody else, they're going to be offended? So we need to start telling each other things differently about each other. And we also need to stop saying that it's okay for people to do evil things. What happens is when somebody gets cheated on, we tell the victim, the person that got cheated on, we tell them, well, you should have known. You should have expected that. You stupid, for thinking that people are good. That's not the answer. We got to change our rhetoric. We got to change what we're saying to each other and about one another. And I'm
going to say something.
I think our kids are listening. They're listening and they're paying attention, and this is our fault.
Yeah, I'm going to say something real controversial. And Ali and Black Ice, Richie jump in on this too, but I definitely want to hear Topaz's opinion too. But I'm gonna say something. Some people might get mad, but there's talk where they say a lot of black women, not all, but a lot of black women in our community raise black boys to be the type of man that they would never date, and I agree with that. But let me finish, right? I agree with that, and I'll lay out why I agree with that. And this is another part. The flip side of that is dads that's in their daughters' lives. We actually raise our daughters to not actually be equipped for marriage because we don't teach them. We teach them how to love and depend on us, but they constantly comparing their man to their daddy, where your daddy and your man is two different things. He should have the qualities of your daddy, but he can't be your daddy. And that girl don't know how to function in a relationship because she expected him to be her father. So we actually ruin our daughters. And the mothers don't teach their sons. This is what moms do. I was raised by my dad and my auntie. My auntie always showed me the best of herself. So I grew up, my interpretation of women was the best. And me being nice to women, never put my hands on a woman, never do all these things. But when I seen the flip side and some of the devilish nature of a woman, I wasn't ready for that shit. But it was my older sister that really put me on game because I got hurt by a lot of women coming in because I wasn't taught it. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I agree with you because then another thing is when women show the best of themselves to their sons or to the boys in their charge, right? Like if you're raising another boy in your house. So when women show the best to little boys like that, it sets them up for unrealistic beliefs in the sense that you mentioned just then, but also to believe that it ain't that hard. My mom was able to do this, this, and this, and she ain't need no help. Why can't you do it? You just eat. So now you have this splitting. The woman is either automatically amazingly a saint and on a pedestal, or either she's just a low down, grimy, scum of the earth type chick, and there's no in between. So what we don't do is we don't teach our kids the middle ground. We don't teach our kids ups and downs. So we don't teach them how to ride the ups and downs. They don't have coping skills. They expect everybody to be either perfect or evil. And they don't know how to handle a middle ground. That's why our kids don't know how to make up. They don't know how to get through conflict. They don't know how to forgive because we're taught, that one thing, cut them off that first time. Because if you don't, they're going to mess over you and you're going to lose out on more and it's going to be your fault. And that's illogical. We need to stop teaching people that.
And you know what else we do? You know what else? I'm going to get to the black fathers first. I'm going to deal with the black fathers second. You know what black moms do too with their boys and why couples cheat? Because this is all tied to why couples cheat. Boys and moms Man, moms do everything for them. They still wash their clothes.
Yep.
They give them $150 pair of Jordans when they don't deserve it. So what you see today is a group of boys, men, still boys, thinking that their women are supposed to serve them. And they don't understand. They don't understand. And a lot of them don't have dads. They're just being raised by mom. So they expect the girlfriend to take the role of mom. So you know what you see today? Right. A lot of girls, you know why you see a lot of girls today where she at work and the guy driving her car, she paying all the bills? Because they're
trying to be mama.
She saw her mom do that with her brothers in them. There was no dad in the house. So to her, that's normal. So what happens is you get in relationships as couples and the standards is already fucked up. So we already going in messed up and cheating is just waiting to happen because we don't know our roles to each other. So you have a lot of boys, a lot of girls who, if she had a dad, he spoiled the hell out of her. And she just want to be spoiled and she's a brat and you can't say nothing to her, put your foot down because she's gonna mouth off because you ain't her daddy.
Right.
Or she saw mommy doing everything, so she gonna do everything for you and crush you. So how does that correlate into relationships? Because when we get into relationships, we have the slightest clue of what it is we're supposed to be doing. A woman don't know what her role is for a man. A woman don't know what she's supposed to be receiving from a man.
Right, because that's what I was just going to say, because the women of old did all of those things for their husbands because the husbands were doing a different job. So what happens is, like in your example, the girl is doing everything for the guy, but he's just sitting at home not doing none of the stuff that his dad would have been telling him that this is what you're doing while she's at home cooking and cleaning. You know, so therefore the woman is cooking and cleaning and she's going to work. And then the little boy was not told that, hey, you supposed to be doing this. And the girl didn't see the boy doing anything. She saw him sitting there at home because mom was doing everything for him. So, you know, like we messed up. We didn't do what we were supposed to do. We may not have gotten all the right instructions, but we need to correct, though. We need to come back into the right lane.
Well, I see a lot of women, because even my wife at times, you know, I went through my ups and downs and all kinds of stuff. And my wife is, she goes over and out of her way to try to do for me to the point where I might say, no, babe, don't do that. Don't do that. You know, because it was a time in my life in our marriage where I went through a deep depression. And I was messed up, like sick, really sick on the couch. And she was taking care of me. And we had a conversation about that, but she had a baby young and she was taking care of her baby and she was always, you know, with her mom and she grew up with her dad, but she was used to basically being in a relationship with her man and taking care of people. But when you are a man and you have a woman doing that, that actually can be damaging to that man and his responsibility. Yeah. Women are conditioned to do that because they seen mama do it. And that translates into relationships. See, what I'd like to do is deal with the psychological, because people hear me say, George, what are you talking about? I want you to turn up. This is boring. Well, sometimes boring is the teaching. This is a teaching tool. Because I'm telling you, I'm in y'all wheelhouse. This is what's going on inside y'all house. Y'all in relationships and y'all might love each other. But she doing the role of you and you doing the role of her. And guess what, though? She's doing it disgruntled. Because soon as she meets an alpha male or man, she's attracted to this man now. Because he
increases the chance of you getting hurt, because you know that's going to be more appealing. And you know, like you said earlier, they haven't talked about why they might be in love and it's going to hurt when they have to break up because they weren't taught how to bridge that gap. Neither one of them can express what's wrong and how to fix it. So the new dude come along, he's doing more, he's there for her more, and now one or both people are getting ready to get hurt.
Yeah, Neutral Zone, come on up. I put the link in the chat. You talking about this couple thing? Come on in, Richie. Richie Ali on this. Me and Topaz is going back and forth. Where y'all at?
Hey,
I got a lot to say.
Yeah, I want to add this different. I want to add this different dynamic that I've had. As I may have told you, George, I went into the armed forces when I was young, 17. Enlisted in the Army. So here I am to my first duty station, 17, 18. My first duty station was up in Alaska. The percentages was something like there were like 20 men for every one woman. All right. So about 80% of the women there married. 80 to 90% of the women there married. All right. And I thought I was just out of gas. You know what I'm saying? But come to find out, those married women were getting their freak on more than damn single women. You know, that's just where you had to get it from. So during my time in the service, I noticed something that military women, what it taught me is women are no different than men are when we're on an equal playing field. You know, when I was in the service, you know, I didn't really have to approach women as much because women would approach me, grab me, hey, come on back to them, come on back to my place. I like your damn swag, your damn drip, whatever. Do, boom, bap, woman tell me, go ahead, get out. You know, that's how life went. That's how I learned about women in that environment.
You was never taught from your mom.
I was taught. No, I wasn't taught. You know, I was not aware of what life was really like. I thought married people, once you're darn married, that's it. You just locked down, no more, never, ever, none.
It would be nice, also, but no.
Yeah, that's also something that we don't recognize that our parents, our grandparents, they also dealt with it now. They also dealt with this. You know, our granddaddy had a whole another family in another town. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's something that our parents kept hiding from us most of the time, or, you know, us just being young didn't know. But going back to what I said, I've realized that when women and men are on the same playing field, where the women making the same amount as darn men, vice versa,
it's the same thing.
They are just like us. They're just like us.
But I think both you and Topaz hit on the nose. I just think that, like, a lot of times, man, when we're being, like, if you're being raised by a single mom and she a mom that work hard, I ain't talking about the floozy chick that's just smoking weed on the porch, have kids on the steps. I'm talking about the mom that go to work every day, might work 2 jobs to take care of you. And she might got her ways too, but most likely that mom is not going to show you that aspect of her. As a boy, you're going to see the best of your mom, and you're going to go out and look for that type of, you might go sleep with women, but as far as a girl in a relationship, you're going to look for that type of woman, the quality in your mom. And what happens is when you do get hurt, I mean, you know, mom might not say nothing to you until you do get hurt. And then you'll hear mom go off on a girl. Man, that girl hurt my damn son.
Yeah. But what you don't hear the mom saying is, I should have told him the truth. Like, we always, as a culture, we tell our kids, you'll understand when you're older, or either stay out of grown folk business. But when do they get to the age where we sit them down and say, listen, I know you saw a great marriage between me and your mom, or either me and your dad, but it ain't all it was cracked up to be, and you have to be ready for that. When do we actually let our kids know before we just release them, but we just let them go while they thinking that everything was all peaches and cream?
Well, we got Ren on here. What's up?
Hey, Ren.
It's the Neutral Zone. What's up, Ren? We on here talking about we dealing with the psychological aspects of why couples cheat. We coming from many different angles. What's your opinion as to why you think Black couples cheat?
I really think that I really don't think that monogamy is really a natural state for a lot of Black men. Now, there are some men that multiple women are not a good option for them, but most men of a particular nature, they are men who can, like, it's kind of like a woman who can have more than one child, and I'm not talking about just able to have them physically, able to actually rear them. Some men are actually able to take care of, provide for, and deal with and guide multiple women. There's a reason why we outnumber you guys. It isn't just so some women can just say, you could be like, oh, well, tough titty lady, y'all got to be single, and only a few women get to win the lottery, and the rest have to be single forever. And it doesn't play out like that in reality. And we like to say it's cheating, but really it's just the natural order of things. These women have to be mated and, for lack of a better word, bred. And if you have the alpha males or these select men, guess what? They are going to go and they're going to do what their biological urge guides them to do. And that is reproduce with these fertile females. It might sound fucked up, but I mean, you just think about it. Do you think that we outnumber you guys just so there to be a lottery for some of the women to be shit out of luck?
I mean, I don't. You know what's funny? Years back, I would might have pushed back on that a little bit, but when I really, somebody said something to me when I was in New York, said something. He said something and really shut me down. As much as I go in and talk, he said, "Man, people talk all that talk, but just think of what we're doing in the hood every day or in our communities. Most people are already living a lie. You are you already in multiple relationships, but you just ain't being honest. She know he messing around. You know what you doing." And I'm not saying that that's for everybody, but if we being honest and we just step back for a minute, that might, what Ren just said, might not be for everybody, but for certain select people, it is for you because you already doing it and you already even know about the woman or the man.
And for me, like what she said, cheating is only happening if the dude is lying about it. So I agree with her, and I've even did a video on that too. Is that it's not like if we grew up in a society where that was still in play, we wouldn't know any different. We're only opposed to it now because we're being told that it makes you stupid to share, because we're told to be competitive and we're told to step on each other and say tough titty to the other ladies that don't get to have one. So we're taught that. If we weren't taught that, we wouldn't know any different. It would be everybody gets taken care of. And that's what used to happen due to war and all of the reasons why we don't have enough men, right? So I personally just feel like it's being taught to us, and that if you can do it, you can do it. I'm glad she said that they need to be able to provide for and manage and also tolerate more than one woman, because a lot of men try to do it and then they don't know what they're doing. And it's only cheating if the guy isn't honest and upfront. If you can handle that many women, then they would know about each other and you'd be handling it. You wouldn't have the skill set available to make sure that the competition don't threaten the house. You know, like that it don't ruin the underlying policies of polygamy. You would know what you're doing. You would have the skill and the resources to do so. A lot of these men, they're lying about it and they don't know what they're doing. So then it looks messy, it looks sloppy. And that technically is why it got outlawed, is because the courts were tired of having to deal with all of that. So they was like, you know what? Let's shut down this church business with this polygamy, and y'all get one person and pick that one, and it's easier for us to regulate. We're not going to do all of this because y'all know what y'all doing.
I understand that point, but I think what Ren is saying is, well, and what I would say to what you just said is, the society created these norms where they can regulate your relationships. They want to control you. See, because if most men didn't have to, we lived in a society where men didn't have to lie, it wouldn't be no child support like that. Like if a man can actually go and create the family, he didn't have, there's a lot of children that's not being taken care of because men are rearing these childs, but they're afraid to lose you. So, man, I ain't my baby. Man, I you ain't fucking my marriage up. Because we live in society where the society, like, you're a property of the state. The state wants to control you. They don't want you to have that control where they creating all these different families. Because you got to remember, back in the day, we used to have grandmom had 14, 15 children. So if you allow a man to have three wives, and he can have 15, 16 children, because nobody produces babies like us. So that's the reason why the state shut that down. I'm going to bring Ren back in. Go ahead, Ren.
That I think that's one of the reasons why we're seeing a lot of people just opt out of the marriage thing and not even have these monogamous relationships anymore, because they want to have that freedom. And it's just easier to move about if you just say, well, I'm a free agent, and it's not like the women aren't going along with these programs. That's why, to me, I would rather see people be a cohesive family than to just see people being single and just dropping babies here and there and just saying the hell with the institution of marriage.
Right. Because let me ask you, Ren. What do you think? Because you came in a little late when we was talking about. We covered why couples cheat from many different angles. I'm gonna just deal with the woman's perspective for a minute. I know that I always say, Ren, that because in our communities they always say, well, guys is dogs, guys ain't nothing. And my pushback to that is always saying, I agree. But for every dog, there's a willing participant. Women do everything that we do, because we sleeping with the women. But why do you think women cover women so much in their fuckery unless she sleep with her man. Why do you think women don't call women out for the same fuckery that we do? Because we're doing the same things, in your opinion?
Because they want that same coverage. They don't want you to call them out.
Okay.
Say nothing about your stuff. Don't say nothing about mine.
And see, and for me, tell me what you think about this. What I think on a big scale, it does us a disservice, because when men, like, we got this idea that the cheating woman looks a certain way. She's the stripper or the floozy. We don't realize that the cheating woman is the stay-at-home mom. She's the professional woman. She's doing she's sleeping. She's doing everything that the man is doing. We're all
workers.
So how do we make that known to the point where we can start putting everything on the table? So now we can stop drawing battle lines across YouTube, where the girls take one side and the guys take another side, because we don't tell the truth as to what's really going on.
I don't think it's a secret anymore. I think people know, they're well aware of it. People, and you know what, George, they've always known. It's just a game people like to play. People like to pretend they're innocent and holy and pious, because it's just easier on you to lie. Because see, when you tell the truth, a lot of responsibility comes with that. So it's just easier to pretend you don't know what's going on. That's all that is. But I do think that, like, when you guys were talking earlier about, as far as preparing the youth when they come out here to actually engage in relationships, my parents' generation and their parents' generation failed there, because there was just certain things you will learn when you get into a marriage. You will learn when you get out there and grow up. And I think that just wasn't the way to go. It is up to the older people now, for me, to tell the young women everything that I wish my mother had told me.
Yeah, the question I guess I would ask you then, when we look at the sacrifice and commitment of relationship, to me, it's just like I always say, like, you see people in relationships today, they paying bills, they get up and they go to work every day, but it's not a lot of commitment. It's not a lot of sacrifice. Like, this couple shit that we see now, like, this thing is crazy. Like, I know so many couples that they both cheating on each other, and they got kids and everything, and it's just like what the fuck? Like, and everybody's out for themselves. Everybody's just chasing the bag. Like, there is no commitment. And I'm just thinking to myself, well, just because I see that now, but was it like that in '97 too? Was it the same thing? Because I mean, that was during the get money era. So it's just like, is there ever a time when there is loyalty in these relationships, or are we just living a lie?
You know what, George, it might go into what the woman Ren was saying. She said, is it natural? Or if she didn't say that, I will say that. We have to question ourselves, is it natural? And what I found is, for a short period of time, say, 100, 150 years, we've been programmed, by society, of what a family is supposed to look like, but we have to take into account biology, biology, for people who don't know, I'm going to give them something, that there are animals monogamous, but scientists found out that when an animal is monogamous, their body undergoes a physical change to where it is physically impossible for them to be with a animal other than its mate. So that plays into, is it even natural, or is it just a societal norm that we expect to uphold? And with that, I'll fall back.
Well, let me ask you,
George.
Go ahead, Richie.
George.
Go ahead, Richie.
You know what? I gotta say, I mean, the two sisters laid it out, and I think the key word is the honesty and trust. And as Ren said, when you're honest, that comes with responsibilities. Whether or not you're saying, I don't want to be in a one woman or one man relationship, or whether you're saying, I want to be in a monogamous relationship, it's still, once you start to talk the truth, You have to stand on the square, and that comes with certain responsibilities. And if you're in a relationship, a proper relationship, like you said right at the beginning, it's not just about your feelings and emotions, really. And the key element, again, when you're saying the word love, like Sister Topaz laid out, again, that's an overall viewpoint of a person where you've taken into account their experiences, who they are, how they problem solve, how they move. If you have never got to know that person and you've never been honest about the things you want yourself within a relationship, and you work off of these subtitled headliners like, yeah, I just want stability. So this person's working, they got certain money. So cool, I'll take that. Yeah, this person looks good. I can walk good with them and we look good together. If you pick these superficial headings to base a relationship under, that's where you're forever going to be looking for stuff to plug gaps. You understand? If you never take the time to be honest about what you truly want out of a relationship, whether it is something superficial to something on a deeper level, you're always going to keep running into these same problems and find an easy out in looking for someone else. But even in a relationship where there's two, three wives, or one man, or more men and more women, it can only still run successfully if everybody takes the time to be honest about what they want and everybody knows each other. And regarding what we tell the young people, I tell my sons all the time, they have to find out the family history. That's the one thing that we've missed out on now in this newer generation. We just skip that shit. We meet someone, we check for them, we like the way they look, we fuck, that's it, we move on. And there's no real conversation about where you came from, what is your life experiences. You know what I'm saying? You don't take none of that into account. So again, straight away, you're lacking in knowing how to deal with that person on an individual level. So to me, the key word I keep hearing is that trust and honesty, and understanding with that comes responsibility.
Well, let me ask the women on the panel, because I just seen a comment in the chat. And we always told that you should meet a woman and court this woman, walk with her, listen to her, let her see that you understand it, let her see that you're responsible and you can take care of yourself. But Decent Table said, I want to hear this from a woman's perspective. Decent Table said, the realest men do what they want and women just accept it. That's real. What's your opinion on that? How do y'all interpret that?
Well, I agree with him. And the reason I agree is because those are the men that are honest, but why do they feel so confident and able to be honest? And why do the women accept it? Is because those men have done something that keeps those women there. So if the woman wasn't getting at least some of what she needed, she would leave. If he's cheating on her, or she knows that he has a second family, the only way she's staying is if she's getting something out of it to make sure that she is still feeling connected to him. If he spends way too much time with the other one, she's just gonna like slough off anyway. So those are the men that are upfront, they're honest, and in addition to being upfront and honest, the reason the women stay there and they accept it is because he has enough resources to make it worth her while to stay. Basically, being his second is higher and more secure than being somebody else's first. That is why Beyonce stayed with Jay-Z.
Okay. What you think about that, Ren? She on mute. That's interesting, because I remember, growing up, we was always told, before you get a woman, make sure you got your house, your car, make sure you like in the process of getting your career together. You have to have something to show that you could take care of yourself before you take on a woman. We was always like told that. So I can link that. I could actually link what Decent Table was saying when he's saying the realest men do what they want. And to me, I just look at it like that's a man basically getting his stuff together before he bring a woman onto his program. But I think how do we maintain the couple in 2020, where now the woman now is out and she's accumulating just as much resources as the man, but now she's taking on the man characteristics psychologically.
Yep.
Whereas though, and I know Nutra's Rena appreciate this, Boys are raised to feel needed from a woman. He has to feel like his mere existence in dealing with a woman is the ability to be needed, to be counted on. When you take that away from that man, what kind of relationship do you have, Ren?
I think you don't. I mean, we all have our roles, and I think that's what a lot of people don't want to believe. And like, look, I'm not saying you can't be whatever you want, but there are some things that instinctually you do. Like when you have children, you provide for them, you protect your woman. Like that's why a lot of these conversations are foreign to me, because they're not coming from a natural position. If you listen to a lot of the talk that the men and women are having in these spaces, this is not a normal, these discussions aren't normal. They're not something that people can live by and go produce and have healthy relationships with. All these conversations and how they're constructed and how they're telling men and women to interact with each other, it is just a continuation of dysfunction. And that this isn't something that our parents did with each other. Now, sure, they had dysfunction and they had their issues, but I'm telling you, this drive for individualism and autonomy has created a group of people that are so selfish and materialistic that they don't have any compassion. They don't have any respect for human life, let alone for each other. People think that when they get in relationships, the other partner is simply there for their pleasure. It's not about a family and building and helping each other. It's about, what are you going to do for me? And if you can't, I'm gone.
Yeah, but that's what we were speaking about. You know, the crazy thing is, Topaz and Ren, you see how we here now, and it's people in the chat, is two women on a panel and it's men. We ain't argued, talked over each other, called each other names, drew battle lines. And I'm gonna tell y'all in the chat, this is important. I want y'all to understand this. The reason why I'm doing this way, because when we have these type of conversations and we get into the meat of the problem, it's gonna be boring. See, the panels that's turned up is when we beating up on each other. And when I'm talking, Topaz can't wait to go so she can undermine what I said. Then I can't wait till she finished or talk over so I can undermine. We get nowhere. But when we actually having a sensible conversation, Ren, it's boring.
Yeah, right. To a lot of people, it is, because they're not interested in anything productive.
Yeah, because now that means that we actually got to be quiet and we got to listen to each other. Nobody wants to do that, Topaz.
True.
You got dudes on here saying that women are stupid. Their point of view is dumb. You got women on here saying that men are weak and we shouldn't listen to them. And I'm just looking at the psychology of both of that, and I'm saying, well, God damn, you know what the crazy part is? With all that being said, we still sleeping with each other and making babies. So if you think the women are stupid, but you still sleeping with these women, you think men are weak, but you still sleeping and getting pregnant by these men. So, and
they're fighting. What kills me is they're fighting for their right to be able to say this. You know, like if somebody, like the people on this panel, we're able to have a conversation because we are people that have respect and we value respect from other people. We are not people that would be fighting for our right to say negative things about somebody that we're going to expect that person to be okay with being in our company. But I don't understand why we as a culture feel like it's okay for us to talk negatively about the other gender, and then we stay next to each other and it's just supposed to be okay. Why do we think there's going to be anything other than conflict if we do that? So when somebody says, hey, maybe you shouldn't say that, or maybe your words matter, they incite, they motivate. So when you call men weak, what are you doing? You're inciting them to either, but now they have a decision. They have to either accept that title or refute it. And the same goes for women. And if you call a woman stupid, they have to now accept that title or either they have to refute it. And then there are actions that come behind that. So when people are on these panels and they're fighting for their right, they're dismissing anybody that says don't do that or this will lead to this. They're fighting for the right to be able to say, well, I can say what I want. And I don't have to sugarcoat anything. What's so wrong with sugarcoating something? Do you care about the message getting across to the person, or do you care about your ability to say the message the way you want to and they just have to deal with it? To me, I think we should be worried about whether the person gets the message. Does it land? Does it hit home? Otherwise, you just talking for nothing anyway.
Right? No, you want, but that's why since I came to you,
on that one.
Go ahead, Richie.
No, big facts. I totally agree. Again, it's having that compassion and that patience to want to make something work. But again, if you're acting on that knee jerk reaction of being hurt and your last experience, and you know what I'm saying, this is where nothing gets sorted. And these problems, as you said, when you get to the crux of it, when you're honest about what the real problem is, half the time it's a million miles away from where you began. And that's the difference. That's where people get lost in translation when trying to deal with these things. But as the sisters just said, if you don't have that basic compassion and you don't actually really care about that person and wanting to be there for them, then whatever you're saying isn't going to work, because it's going to be delivered in a harsh, knee jerk, I don't give a fuck, take it or leave it type of way. And you can't operate a give and take lasting relationship on that basis. Yeah, you're forcing somebody to get some other option. And again, if you're warring over something that isn't the real problem, this is why you can plug the gap with fucking in between, because it's a problem. You've argued, you've had a domestic over whatever the argument was, but because that's not the real argument, you can come together and make up for a short period of time in between, and then go right back to using that same argument again as your another excuse or as another catalyst for another war. And then again, you're back together for a little while. And this is why you see this pattern of behavior in loads of relationships, because they're never actually dealing with the real problem. You understand? And it is now just about hurting each other, as the sister said. You're just saying words to tear strips off of each other, and that's it. And then it's the makeup sex. And even that's been glorified nowadays. You understand? Where, how many times are you supposed to be having makeup sex? What the fuck?
Well, you got to remember, Gab, the link is in the chat. If you want to jump on, Gab. I want to say this. Yeah, it's an open panel today, so the link is in there. Man, anybody want to jump on this topic? Me and Richie, Topaz, don't you deal in like psychology work or something?
I thought yeah, mental health and substance abuse.
Okay, you deal with mental health, and me and Richie. If you go on my George Making One channel, for the last 2 years, we've been dealing with PTSD in the Black community. We've been dealing with molestation in the Black community. We've been dealing with homosexuality. All my content. We've been dealing with abandonment issues. A father, how to be a good father. Daughters. I always say. I got a thing where I say on different videos where I say the most unprotected woman in America is the Black woman, because from the time she's come out of the womb, most likely she don't have a dad or she's unprotected, and that's why so many of them are molested. Now, why am I saying this? They say it's like damn near 6 out of 10 of them before the age of 18 are touched in some way or the other. So now when we fast forward, ran all the way to the couple part, we got to deal with all of that shit before you get to the couple. So now when you look across YouTube, Topaz, and you see all this diabolical behavior, look at the backgrounds of where we coming from.
Yep. We got to give each other the benefit of the doubt through understanding. So like, we got to know, like, listen, we all have been oppressed. And even if it didn't hit you as direct, you still are operating in a system in which it can still happen. And also you're going to be impacted by somebody who was. So we have to remember that when we talk with each other. There's a lot of stuff we aren't going to be capable of doing right now. So we have to learn to let some things go. We have to learn how to forgive. And we also have to learn not to take people's kindness for weakness. So it's a lot. It's a lot that we have to do. But we can't even get there until people give up on their quest to be able to insult and name call and step over people.
Yeah, and the reason why I brought all that up, like what me and Richie do, because I've shown PTSD in children, and I always say that a lot of us are children disguised as adults walking around.
Yep.
And we're in relationships. And what happens is, the reason I say, why do Black couples cheat? But I like to deal with the psychological effects. So I'm looking at Black YouTube. Man, these men ain't shit. They ain't this. And then you do the background, and a lot of these women that's on these panels talking this way, man, you be like, damn, this what happened to her. Oh wow, now I see. Then you see the backgrounds of some of these men's, and you're like, wow, because you got to remember they say 4 out of 10 black boys are molested, but boys don't come out and tell their story. You know, there was a lot of abuse inside the household. There's a lot of things that lead up to why we behave the way we behave in relationships and how we deal with conflict resolution. It's a lot to come with that. Gab, man, hey Gab, I'm gonna try to email you tonight, man. Let's try to set up something for tomorrow evening if we can, Gab. I'll come on. I can come on. I should be free. But let's try to set up something for either tomorrow or Wednesday. I definitely want to come on. I was thinking about that. It's been kind of hectic. Yeah, but Topaz and Ren, we got to really look at. I just think that like a lot of times, man, and that's why me and Richie do what we do. We gloss over all the trauma that we come through, and then all of a sudden we try to. Black people do the best job is try to walk around and act like everything is all right, and then everybody show the best of themselves when they come to YouTube. Man, we got all kinds of fucked up issues going on, man.
I'm not seeing the best in people on YouTube. As a matter of fact, I'm seeing the worst. And, just like even when you talk about the molestation issue, I have seen people sit on panels and make fun of people for being molested as a child, use as a point to try to hurt them. And so if you have people operating like that on here in this space, they are on here literally abusing the abused. So where do you think we're going to go from here? And like I was telling them today when we were talking about programming, television programs, and how I was just talking about how, certain shows I watched growing up influenced me. People act like television and these programs we're watching don't have an influence, but they do. And you're lying if you say it doesn't. So you imagine sitting around listening to hours of this stuff. Allow hours of this toxic rhetoric that goes on, that gets in your psyche, and it has you looking at Black people in a way that is unhealthy for you as a Black person. For you to be moving about in a Black body and to feel the way that you feel about Black people because of the way, number one, this country treats you, the rhetoric that you get from mass media, and then you have to come to Black spaces and get it from people who look just like you. This is abuse.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
And then a lot of us got mommy issues. You can see here on my picture. That's a picture of my mom. I grew up with mommy issues. My mom got sick when I was young. Yeah, no. I know that wasn't for me, Gab. I was just when I seen you in there, I just remembered. I was just saying I'm gonna email you after the show tonight so we can set up something. I know it wasn't for me, but no, I had mommy issues, and I can tell you, any woman until I matured into a man that came into a relationship with me, Ren and Topaz was in trouble. Yeah, because I had issues that had never been dealt with, and I came up in the era when you asked grown folks about grown folks stuff, they told you to stay in the child's place. So right. Nobody ever told me the issue with my mom and what happened with my mom, how she got sick. So I grew up with a void in a space. And a lot of these guys you see on these platforms, they're growing up like that. They got mommy issues. But you got a lot of girls that get in relationships that got daddy issues. And they're looking for a man to fill that void. So any man that says something nice to them, their panties fall down. Any man that may be a little aggressive or abusive, they look at that as love or protection, because we never had that proper structure. So when we talk about why do couples cheat, man, this thing branches out into so many different levels that people just don't get it. And this is a teaching tool.
That's real talk, but you can't have these kind of conversations in certain spaces. And I think, I first came here, it's been a year now, I'm just coming up to my year here. This is all new and exciting, but like I just say now, like I'm at the point where it's kind of getting wearisome because it's like it's not productive. Like this right here, this feels good because I feel like this is something that people can get something out of. But it unfortunately here, this is not what's popular. What's popular over in the Black spaces we tend to frequent is cussing each other out, lying on people, trying to expose people. And if you can't expose them, you don't have a problem making up a story and pretending it's them. it's like it's just toxic. And so when you get into a space and you can actually have real conversations like this, it feels good to know that everybody is not on that frequency. Everybody's not operating from that operational system.
Well, you know what it is, friend? Most people, when you come into these, I'm gonna tell you, we interview me and Richie interviewed a guy that was a black boy, it was open homosexual, and he talked about the things that happened to him as a kid. And you'd be surprised the people that was coming in the chat room and was opening up and saying certain things and things that happened to them. What happens is two things that happen. Some people begin to open up and talk. Some people will do anything to sabotage the panel because they don't want to talk about it. They'll try to do because some of our people have put things so far behind them that they barely can remember things. But the behavior with it, they still exemplify, still shows. And this is what's happening in relationships. So when I ask the question, why do couples cheat? People, what I see, what I always hear in Topaz is surface level shit.
Right.
She talked too much. Why does she talk too much? Because she just talked too much. But why does she talk too much, brother? Where's she come from? Who her mother? Who her father? Does she have any children? Did she have a baby father that left her? Like, I need to really know who she is because all you just gave me was she talked too much. Or she say, well, he hit me. Well, why are you with a man that hit you? What made you want to be with a man that hit you? What's up with him? Do you know this man's background? Does he come from a family that may have been abusive? Like, do we even know each other, Topaz, when we're in these relationships?
Well, and then like in those scenarios that you just mentioned, a lot of times the person that is doing the thing that's irritating the other one doesn't even know why they're doing it. So she might not even know why she talks so much because, like you said, she put whatever it is behind her and she doesn't now know why she talks so much. And if she's about to lose a good relationship because of it, she has no idea how to not, because all she knows is that it was deemed necessary at some point. Mm-hmm. She kept the lesson that she learned from it, but forgot why that's the right answer. So then she gets with a man who, she doesn't have to do that anymore and she can't stop it. And now it's kind of like, let's say there's a guy that she meets that does pay attention to her, right? Mm-hmm. And she talks so much unbeknownst to her or him because she felt ignored and she always had to do everything herself. And she lived a life of, if she didn't say anything, nobody would check on her. Nobody would do anything for her. So she's learned to talk a whole lot, right? That's just an example. She meets this guy, he's paying attention, but he takes it personal that she has to tell him because he lived a life where it was a punishment if you had to be told something. So now he looks at success is if he can see it and get the answer right without being told. She looks at success as if I tell him and he does what I ask him to do. That would cause a conflict between both of them, and they're looking for the opposite thing, but they forgot why they do it, and now they can't explain it to one another. And now this is a relationship that could have worked, but because they don't understand themselves, it dissolves, and it probably dissolves in flames. Mm-hmm. And now that branches out and hits everybody else that's in their environment. It hits who they look to for advice. It hits who did whatever it is to them. It hits whoever the next relationship is. It hits whoever they cheat on their partner with. And it just feels like if you knock over a cup on the table, you don't control where the water flows. It hits whatever it hits that's close to it.
I'm thinking something else too. All of that, like we touch on the pain issue. A lot of it is for pain, but we also need to remember that there's another side of it as well. There are some people who just get off on doing bad things. There are some people who get a thrill from sneaking, who get a thrill from the act itself, even more so than the actual sex act. The things that lead up to it. It excites them. Just like it took me a minute to realize in this space that there are people who really get off on trying to hurt people. It turns them on. And that might sound crazy to you because you don't operate like that. But until I actually saw the shit play out on Rude's panel and he talked about it, that's when it really clicked for me. Wow, some of these people, they're not doing this naively. They get off on hurting people.
Yeah, no, I agree. That comes. Go ahead, Richard.
No, that's a fact. I mean, that's called being a voyeur. It's when someone enjoys watching a reaction from someone else. As you said, the build up, that attention is, again, it's needing attention, but not knowing how to get positive attention. So you'll just take it any which way, whether it comes in an argument, whether it comes with a statement that you know specifically winds up that person. But again, what the sister's talking about is being a voyeur. And trust me, that condition is growing by the second. Because because you've got so many neglected people out here who haven't received the right type of love from the beginning when it came to their family, let alone in their relationships. Now they're in this situation where they're forever needing verification or some sort of attention being given. And that's where now they become this monster that likes to create situations and then just sit back and literally feed off of the energy and the reaction that's given by the other person. And 9 times out of 10, that's a negative. It's not going to be a positive. You know what I'm saying? But definitely, I agree with that.
And you know what? Topaz hit on something that was important, though. A lot of times we get in relationships, Ren, and we don't compliment each other, and we don't realize it right away. Some of us grew up in a house without the proper family structure, and the way that woman may operate or deal with conflicts may not be suitable for the man, or vice versa. You know, we got a lot of unresolved issues or undiagnosed issues that's never been talked about. And when Topaz spoke on the thing about the woman talking too much, and she don't even notice she talked too much, but the guy, because of his background, where he come from, that might not work for him. He might, a woman being disrespectful or talking a certain way to him may trigger him in a certain way because he might got mommy issues. I'm gonna use me as an example. When I was growing up, watch this, Topaz, because like you said, you deal with the mental health things. I'll give you an example for me, right? When I was growing up, I thought that my mom abandoned our family. So for me, I looked at all women, as a piece of shit, except for the women in my family. But I still liked women. But we was cool until we had problems. So soon as we start arguing or she start getting at me, in my mind, I feel like if my own mom can leave me, I know what you would do. So fuck you, bitch. And that's how I view all women. So for a woman to really take off or start running her mouth or go off, that was a bad thing for me until I had to learn who I was. And it wasn't about the women. It was about my internal issues. But how many people are suffering from those kind of things where the thing that triggers you is bad for me and the things that's bad for me triggers you? But we actually don't compliment each other coming into the relationship and don't even realize it. What's your opinion on that, Topaz?
Well, I think that's one of the things that when I mentioned earlier how we got to prepare our kids before they go out here and start trying to date. So one of the things that I'm going to do that I thought about earlier today is I'm going to do a video on the importance of rites of passage. And the reason is because that cuts off previous behaviors before that. And what I mean, how that fits into what we're talking about right now is that before they are released to start dating, they need to be talked to about how to determine what your own triggers are, how to love yourself first and learn to be okay with being alone, to not be codependent, to not trigger other people on purpose, and to know what your triggers are so you can avoid that. And then you can pick who would be complementary to you. But we just get out here and we just do it all willy-nilly. And a lot of times we don't take time to realize what our triggers are. So for you, that was a trigger, right? But how long were you dating before you figured out that was something that did trigger you? You want
to be honest? It wasn't until I end up. My story is well known. I talked about it. It wasn't in my early to mid 20s. I had to get arrested for putting my hands on a woman. For me to go to classes for me to recognize that.
Yeah.
And recognize my triggers and what was ailing me. But a lot of people, I had to learn that because I didn't think it. I'm gonna tell you, I didn't think it was anything wrong with me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Until I was showing myself.
Well, and another thing is our culture had a period of time where we didn't have time to take to grieve or to lose something. So, you had to deal with a whole lot of trauma, watching your family get split apart, having people in your family die by being tortured, and you were expected to get like 5 minutes later back out there and back to work and don't let one tear fall. So we now keep that going, and we don't take time to heal ourselves. We don't, nurture one another. We don't comfort one another. We're telling each other still, well, life goes on. We don't have any set way that we're expected to get over hurt. So an example of that would be in Jewish culture, they have what's called Shiva after somebody dies. The 7 days, don't ask them for nothing. And everybody else in the community takes care of them and all their responsibilities. But what that does in that 7 days is let that person be free of responsibility, let them heal themselves emotionally, make their peace with it, right? To feel supported by everybody else, to recognize that that is the end of a person's life, so that when that week is over, you now have a blueprint for how long it's supposed to take you to get through that. And if you take longer than that, because you will also have grown up in the culture watching everybody else take that 7 days and be okay. So, either when you grow up, that will be what you do, because now you've learned that and it's imprinted in you. So now you don't need more than 7 days, or either if it takes longer than 7 days, that right there is a clue that there's something else going on. And now, hey, I'm not ready to get back out there yet. I got to figure out what this is. As Black people, we don't have a light bulb moment that tells us, hey, I need to figure out what else is going on here. We blow up about small things because there's nothing that tells us, hey, wait a minute, we're going too far. Why? This is abnormal. Why am I still this hurt? Why am I still this angry? Why is it affecting me this much? We don't have that thing that has a clue or a cutoff period. And that's why I think our culture has to be restructured. And it's going to have a lot of things in it that involve us being able to comfort one another, because nobody knows our experiences like us. And so hopefully that answers the question. Did I answer the question? I know I'll go off.
No, you did. And I'm gonna tell you though, Topaz, most of us get new relationships before we get out the old one. While
right.
Old relationship, we're already cheating in the new one.
Right.
Then we transition from the new one to the old, and we carry baggage from that right into the next one. All of us do it, women and men. We do it. Because Decent Table asked me, he said, well, with all that, did that make you cheat? And I'll tell you, yeah, because I didn't respect women. I didn't respect myself. I'm gonna tell y'all in the chat room. Decent Table asked me what I said before Topaz started talking, did that make me cheat? I'm gonna tell y'all something. I want y'all to understand this. It wasn't that I didn't respect women. I didn't respect myself enough to make the right decisions to bring good things into my life. The actual things that I actually wanted in a woman, I had no knowledge of how to obtain those things. So only thing I could manifest was what was downloaded into me over the years. I had to learn what my problem is so I can start making better decisions to bring better things into my life. So yeah, I was cheating because I didn't respect myself. I didn't even understand who I really was until I had to go into the system and see certain things because I was out of control. But so a lot of times you see a lot of these girls with problems with their hands, guys with problems with their hands. We see Ren and Topaz and Richie, all we see is the end result. I'm the type of person, I like to know who she is and why she likes to put her hands on people. I don't just deal with she hit this guy because I want to get to the problem so we can stop because I come from that.
It's important for us to also realize that not everybody can do that. I am also a person that wants to know why. Why does this person behave this way? If that is not something that other people in the community can do, then I would suggest that they don't even try. And that's why I'm glad that we're now trying to lift the taboo on therapy and mental health treatment. And the reason is because if you try to do it and you mess it up, you now have just exponentially grown the problem. And now, of course, all their reactions now are going to be out of proportion. They're going to look like they're overreacting, like they're paranoid all of the time, which causes even more baggage, which causes even more damage. So it just like snowballs from there. So not everybody is going to be required to ask why, because not everybody can ask why. Some people just need to realize that that's not your bag and do something else to help in the community, like not trigger people. Sometimes it really is that simple. That's all you have to do is just not trigger people, and things will go well for you. and then also somebody else can come along and then help that person out. Everybody can't do everything. So I would want to know why too. But I have that interest, and if I ask why,
Right.
I also believe that I'm gonna stay there and try to help them through it. I'm not gonna just open a wound again and then just leave the person there.
Yeah, yeah, because I'm that type of person. I'm more of a detective. Go ahead, somebody. Go ahead, Richard.
No, I mean, I was just going to say the same thing. I mean, you can't expect a 2-second answer for a 10-year long problem. You know what I'm saying? We got to start to keep it sensible. And if you're not prepared to do the investigation and you don't have the compassion and you don't have the patience, as the sister said, step away from that shit, because you will make the problem exponentially worse every time. Especially if, again, as you know, you don't have any boundaries, you're not really caring about a person's feeling, you're going to do more mental damage than not by trampling in. It's better you just don't deal with a subject matter even. And that's the key element. Again, if you're not honest with yourself and you're not honest with your true motives for why you're bringing up a conversation. So if your intention was never to soothe, never to understand, never to be there for you, for that person, then shut the hell up. Because the moment you start talking, you're going to dig a bigger hole and you're going to inherently make the experience worse. And then there's always, room for you now to keep going in this perpetual argument, because you're forever going to be triggering each other now. You're going to be saying your insensitive comments to the person. They're going to be responding in kind to what you're saying. And this is where you're trapped in a never-ending circle of drama. You know what I'm saying? So again, as the sister said, you just got to look at yourself and think about your true motives out here before you open your mouth. Yeah, and if you think you can jump from one relationship to the next, again, without observing why one relationship has broken down and being honest about your choices within that situation, it's not going to work. It's never going to work.
Well, let me ask y'all. Ren, you got children, Ren? I don't know. Topaz, you got any children?
Yes,
No.
my daughter is 19 and my son is 13.
Okay, Ren, you have any children, Ren?
No.
Okay, well, Richie, I know you have children. I have children. I want to go into this aspect and I want to hear from you guys. A lot of people I see get in relationships with women because or men, and they get together and they have children. They want to be a better parent to their children than they were, but they still have all these issues that we talked about. They actually, a lot of people actually fuck their children up even more. Actually, because they don't have these, and you see these toxic relationships, and a lot of times you see people. Well, a lot of times the guy might get the more end of the stick because the woman gets stuck with the baby, and if the guy ain't around, then he's looked at as a piece of shit. But a lot of our women are fucked up too. Like I remember years back, I got a homie that's like 4 years older than me, and this guy, he's a good dude, man. Like, I remember, back in the day, all of us as homies, we was all pieces of shit, cheating son of a bitches, and he was one of the homies. I can honestly say he wasn't like us. And I remember he married this girl, and she was cheating on him, and they got in an argument one day, and he tried to leave, and she jumped on his back, and he pushed her. And I remember she fell into the coffee table or something, and the cops came, and to get back at him, she told the cops that he beat her up and got a restraining order on him, and she took the kids and everything. And I remember he used to be at my house crying all the time, and I never really had seen a woman do nothing like that before. And it was just like, damn, like, and I used to be like, damn, like, a lot of us out here, we ain't shit. Like, how was the good dude having all these problems? And I was mad at her, and I used to say all kinds of stuff. But as I get older, you think about like what was inside of her that now they get along, and she actually spent years trying to get him back, but he didn't want it back. He ended up remarrying and everything. And we all grew up together. But what was inside her to make her want to do that to him? And like Topaz, he was a good dude. He was too nice to her. Like she wanted the hood dude. Like he was a dude that went to work, took care of his family, did everything. I used to watch this man cry in the morning because when their son was born, he had he had him all the time, and to get just to be spiteful, she did that. But when we was able to see, as time went on to her life, she dealt with a lot of internal shit.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot, man. It's a lot. And for me, I don't like the way that we deal with things in Black YouTube, because all we do is beat up on each other. Like, we don't deal with, you're not gonna hear certain channels where black men come on and we talk about like what's in the psyche of this woman that make her behave this way. But these dudes are still sleeping with these same women. So if we're gonna be sleeping with each other, then we need to be trying to figure out ways. What I try to do for people that come watch me, see, because we can do all that cartoon shit that they do across Black YouTube. But if y'all gonna come watch George, when y'all leave me, I just want y'all thinking about how when you go home to your woman or your man, how you can be better. Or maybe when you listen to streams like this, say, baby, you know what? We need to go to counseling. Because George, Topaz, Ren, and Richie just made me relive something about my past that I've never gotten over. That's when I know I did my job.
Right. Well, and for me, I just kind of want people to be able to have that light bulb moment to say, hey, this is not normal. Or either something that they've been taught was just weird or out of the ordinary. They realize that, yeah, more people do this. This is a normal thing. So, for me, when I make, videos, my hope is that we get back to realistic expectations of one another. We know the things that are considered to be abnormal now, something that is against our nature, something that is against our survival and health. And then we know the things that are, on the opposite side that actually help with those things. So I think we have a lot of the things backwards. We think that a lot of things that are abnormal and painful are normal, and and vice versa. So my hope is to put those back in the right perspectives.
Yeah. Well, if we ain't arguing, or he or she being too nice, there's something wrong. You being too nice to me, you being sneaky. Like we've made the struggle normal. And this
right.
So people see the title and they say, why do couples cheat? Oh, George gonna be going in. No, I'm dealing with the science of this shit. I'm dealing with the science. Right. I want to get to why we do the shit that we do. Why you feel like you get with a new man, you got to go all through his phone? Why? You don't know this man. What has he done to you? I just need to go. Why do you need to be all on his phone? Why do you need to be all on her phone? Why? So for me, it's something else there. Because if it goes from the phone to what else? Oh, how about you call me and I'm at my house sleep and I don't see your call for 2 hours. But when I wake up, I got 4 or 5 nasty messages on my thing.
And accusations. It's accusations. And then why wouldn't a woman see that that's abnormal? Like, people do have to sleep. People do have a life. Why do you think that anytime that this person can't answer the phone call on your whim, you just thought about, hey, let me call this person? You just so happen to think, oh, well, they're out doing wrong. Why is that the first thing you go to? Why is there nothing else, not one other thing that this person could be doing other than doing you wrong? They can't be cooking. They can't be in, working out. They can't be nothing else but doing you wrong. Why?
Yeah. And guys do it too. She ain't answering her phone. You go up to her job. You sitting outside her house waiting to see who she gonna pull up with. Like, where is this behavior coming from? This is baggage that you're carrying from somewhere else. And I'm trying to tell y'all, because a lot of y'all that's watching now, or people that's going to watch the video later, or as it goes across YouTube, in the future, when you guys see this video, this is for you. You need to look at yourself in the mirror and check yourself when you're sitting outside our house.
Right. And there are a lot of people that when the person pulls up and they were doing something appropriate, like they pull up alone and with groceries, that's still not enough. They still feel like, oh, okay, well, you must have dropped the person off or whatever. Or either, well, how'd you get these groceries? They still don't accept the W. They don't accept the win. This person wasn't doing you wrong. It was on the up and up, but it's still not satisfying enough.
Mark G said most men would not.
I was just about to say that, George. I was just about to read his shit. Yeah, that he's saying that men are cheating because they're not getting their first choice. And again, that's the realness. If you're settling based on some fake narratives that you think you want and you're not honest, This is why it's easier to dispense with people and cheat. If you come into the relationship already thinking, like my brother AM1 said earlier in the chat, you know, I don't go into any relationship without thinking that the woman hasn't already cheated on me. Again, if you're starting off in those kind of mind states, the moment, as you said, somebody is not available to you, or they're not, you know, they're not picking up their phone, they're not around for you to see, your brain's going to go to those dark places. And it's going to happen in such an instantaneous moment. You know what I'm saying? Like your head will spin for how quickly you're going to think that person's cheating. And again, society, propaganda, media, that's all geared towards that same narrative of a disposable nature. Everybody's on a disposable one. Nah, he's not doing it tonight. Go and get a new one. Yeah, she's not cutting it this week. I got another 5 on the go. So if you start off the equation on that mad one, and you definitely are settling for people who you don't necessarily like, again, you're taking one thing, good thing, out of 5 other things that you've listed for yourself that you want, but you're just taking the one thing that you see, and you don't have the patience to seek out what you really want. Again, just like my brother said, you will cheat because it's not your first choice. And you're not really going to value who you're with properly. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely rock with that statement.
I want to put my bishop hat on for a minute because I want to actually deal with that for a minute. Because this is
hold on, let me get to the organ.
Get the organ. I gotta bring y'all into the tabernacle now because I got a problem with that statement. And I'm gonna tell you why. And this is where I begin to talk about black male accountability, where black men won't cheat if he get his first choice. And this is the mistake that we make. First of all, what type of mind is it that's choosing his first choice? We have to analyze who is making the choice. Who are you? Where are you at in your life when you are making that choice? What is it that's in your mind that when you're looking at this girl that's telling you that this is the woman for me? Are you even equipped or know who you are and where you are in life to properly pick the right woman for you to say, where are you going for the next 25 to 30 years? See, a lot of us as men like to make these type of statements. But I'm telling you, I know how we are as men. When you're not grounded on solid ground, and got your shit together and know what it is that you need, not what you want. Because we're visual creatures. And we like to explore uncharted waters and go after what we want, but that's not always what's good for us. But when you get to a place in your life, when you see and know where you're going and got your program together, and now you're seeking a woman to bring into your program after years of experience. Because I hear that a lot. Well, if I get my first choice, I need to know who is that person? Where are you in your life? Who is it that's making that choice? That's why we have these streams. Why do couples cheat? Because the choices that we make is always the choices that gets us in the conditions that we're in. Because we never reevaluate what it is that we like, what it is that we choose, what the way we think that brings the energy that we bring to ourselves. See? So you got to look at yourself and do inventory of who you are, where you come from, and the way you think, and what you draw to yourself. Because the women you choose might be that, because your mind is fucked up on negative energy, you're drawing that woman to you, and she's going to look good. She's going to look the part. She's going to look real good. And when you draw it to you, you're going to say, what the hell happened? How did why am I in this child support court? Why did these things go this way? Because you never reevaluated yourself. So when people say choose, I need to know who you are when you're making that choice. And this goes to females too. You're choosing. So I had to tell my sister this. You need to reevaluate the type of men you choose. It ain't got nothing to do with the men. It's you. You are the problem. You are bringing these men in your life based off the way you think and based off of what you think you like. Because the things you think you like is what's bringing you the strife, what's bringing you the pain. And you refuse to take inventory of yourself. Everybody else is to blame. So no, it's not always your first choice. Normally your first choice is the wrong choice.
Right. And then this is the thing for me, and then I'm gonna shut up for a while. What kind of mind wants and finds something fun or desirable that is not what you need or that benefits you? So overall, as a whole, that's something that should be the first clue to a damage. But Black people don't see it that way. What we do is say, well, oh, well, yeah, this is fun. I know it's not a good thing for me. I know it's not healthy or helping me survive, but it's fun, or it tastes or feels or looks good or whatever. But it's opposite or different from something that would nourish you, something that would help you have, a higher quality of life. Why does that split occur? Well, because it's usually some additional outside force that is causing whatever it is that makes you feel like it's a good thing. For example, with our food, right? Why don't we enjoy eating vegetables, even though vegetables are healthy for us? Why do we enjoy eating things that are just detrimental and damaging to our body physically? Because there's some ingredient in it, or there's some seasoning on it, something extra. Because if it was just plain by itself, it wouldn't be as much fun. So it's something else in there that's making you want that, and that's fun. And now you're out of touch with what your body needs.
Listen, you hit it on the head. So I just want people, because we at the 2 hour mark before we begin to close out. I just want people, I want you to really understand when we talk about choices, because I see T. Williams has said 1033. She said, but they still cheat. And I'm telling y'all, a lot of times we cheat, and then Decent Table said most men cheat, period, is part of their nature. But I want you to understand something. If most men cheat is part of their nature, unless they're gay, they're screwing women. So for everything that men do, women do. We are connected. There's no one without the other. We are moving in the same, on the same spectrum. It's nothing different. And I'm trying to get y'all to understand that mindset. Just because your woman ain't cheating, the woman over there is. So there's always a balance to everything. There's a balance to everything in this reality. So we cheat by nature, so does she. So does she. Y'all better go look at them shows where they show all them women be taking them DNA tests and don't be the dude's baby.
Right? Like how? And and I think that blows men's mind, because they in their mind they believe, but I've been watching her. There was no clue that she would have been doing it. I'm completely caught off guard, and I think that's scary for them. Is because the thought of the fact that this was happening and you had no idea, and had somebody not invented a DNA test, you would have been paying for a baby that ain't yours. I think that to a lot of men, that's scary, and that makes them, kind of gun shy about committing to a woman. They'll still do the act that would have them on TV trying to guess if it was a baby that's theirs or not, because they haven't combined, all of the necessary components. If you don't like, and you don't want to be in that situation, the answer is to not sleep with them also, not just to not give them a relationship, but the sleeping with them part is fun. So you keep doing it anyway.
Hey, I'm gonna say this. Peace to Janice. I see you up in here. I'm gonna say this to you and Ren, right? You there, Ren? Ren, I want you to hear this real quick.
I'm here.
Watch this, Ren. See, what a lot of people don't know, because we've been raised to be tough. Men cry and hurt more than y'all do. See, when men really meet women that they really like and love, we overlook a lot of shit that we will see in a girl that we think is a floozy. Not my girl. Like I said, we hold it to a higher standard. See, women are more emotional, and we kind of like hide ours, but men cry in the dark like a motherfucker. We keep things to ourselves. We hurt harder than y'all do, but we just try to find ways to move on because we're hunters. And remember, a woman can only get pregnant one time a year. We can go and we could be frustrated and be hurt and just screw a bunch of women all on one block. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we deal with our things differently. But we hurt nonetheless. And we do hold y'all to a higher standard. So men we don't put y'all in the same category as what we do. So we say it's a man's nature, he just cheat. And I'm like, brother, listen, let me bring you back down to reality. That I was sleeping with a woman. And that woman didn't just have to be a hook or a whore. She went home to her man too. We all doing the same shit all throughout the world. So what I want,
and it's not good for either one of us, because that runs you down. It drains you, because you got to sneak around. Like, because if you're not on the up and up and actually providing for them in a polygamous setting, then it's running you down with all of the extra stuff you got to do to make sure that you can still do that. I hate that nature line, and the reason is because we have free will. We are a higher evolved, being on the planet. We have dominion over animals. Are we going to keep lowering ourselves to do the same thing as animals do? They also sleep outside. They don't have, ways to build their own place to stay. If we don't take them in, they would be sleeping outside and eating whatever they can find. Y'all want to go back to nature? Y'all want to be like animals for real, for real? Well, that's what it would be like. We got free will, so you need to use it. Be logical. And that will go back to what Ren said earlier. Some men, if you know you can't handle more than one, or you don't feel like having more than one, then be logical, and you have to use your free will to override the polygamous nature. We are capable of that. We are able to do it. So there's, that can't be an excuse going forward. It's a lot of stuff that's natural to us that we don't do anymore because we want to do something else.
Right. Yeah. It all depends on.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, I agree. It all depends on what works.
Too many society trends. I think, again, it's understanding the difference between personal choice, as the sister's saying, and having discipline to yourself. Understanding what the culture is supporting, like Sister M was talking about. Again, the culture is not supporting certain behaviors. It's not rewarding. It's not there as a backbone to change the narrative. Earlier, we talked about grandparents, having 2 families, 3 families and whatever. But again, the mind state, even though they're still by default cheating, not being honest, fully honest, the culture at the time promoted a whole different way to go about it. So you couldn't just sleep with someone. You had to still go about making the same home, the same commitment, the same structure had to be presented just for it to be possible. So again, we've got to understand the difference between us and our disciplines, or what we got to maintain, the trends that are being promoted, the culture that's lacking and not supporting some of these behaviors. You know what I'm saying? And again, how many hurt people there are on road that are just taking out their frustration by having these short-term gains, which is to just, have sex now, worry about the consequences later, because I'm going through so much hurt, de-stress, all the rest of it, that when I get a little goodness, whether it comes in the form of dick or pussy, I'll jump on that shit real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Richie, look, this is funny, though. Decent Table said you could cheat on a woman 10 times. She'll take you back. Man get cheated on. He want to cry and kill everything the first time.
Facts. I mean, that's again where the perception of true power has to be realized, because as men, we're looked as the powerful beings, but the woman has the true power because we're running after women. Most of what we do as men is for the woman and surrounds that whole mating ritual. So when it don't go right, you're damn right it will fuck up a lot more men's reality in general than a woman.
Hey, Richie,
you know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
We cheat 40,632 times. She cheat one time, you ready to kill everybody. The whole pride, kill every damn thing.
But that's because men are honest. They're telling women, look, I can't handle it. I can't look at you every day knowing that you done this in a relationship. So men are honest about that. Women, they don't like it, but they tolerate it because they're told, hey, listen, all men cheat, or don't get rid of a good man just because he cheated, or either you don't want to be lonely and expensive. Men do things to get women, and women do things to avoid pain. Rejection and being lonely is is a form of pain. So they stay because they don't want to start over.
But let me ask you and Ren this though, right? Let's separate everything you just said, right? I'm with you, but let's separate that for a minute, right? Let's look. I want y'all perspective. Do you think we've been in this culture, and we know this culture is not ours, but do you think that women forgive the man because it actually might be a part of nature? I want from you and Ren, whereas though we can't handle that, but I'm not saying, because I want us to look at it not from this lens. Whereas though I'm not saying, and I'm not even saying that it's right, but if a man does do that, what is inside of a woman that will make a woman forgive this man repeatedly? What is inside of that woman?
I'm gonna let Ren go first because I've been running my mouth.
Well, I described from a thought that I really
Oh shit, your microphone messing up.
um, theories surrounding why we choose the partners we choose. A lot of people don't know that they why they choose the partner, but some of it is on an unconscious level. If you think about it, they say our brains are designed like computers. And one thing about a computer, a lot of times when you put a program in, the program is going to continue to run until it's finished, right? You're
Right.
taking your childhood traumas, you are going to find a way to resolve them in your lifestyle a lifetime. So a lot of times you end up picking somebody that will help you complete the running of that program. And when you
Mhm.
actually do the work, you come to find that, well, why are we having these kind of fights? And like it took me to learn how to actually, when those things come up, I'm able to acknowledge them and recognize them now because I read that book. And so now when I'm having these issues, like, it was funny. I heard you talking about talking too much. That was one of my issues because, it was the whole, children should be seen and not heard. And I'm not saying I always didn't get hurt, but there were times, especially being a teenager, where I felt like I wasn't heard. So when people aren't listening to me, I'll get aggressive and start talking over you and, because you're going to hear me. And I didn't learn where that came from until I actually did the work and I figured it out. But look, I learned that in my 40s. But I learned other things when I was younger. But, it's a process and you're going to heal. And I really do believe, whether they're work relationships, but your love relationships are really where most of that acts out at. This is for you. Every relationship gives you the opportunity to work through those traumas. But when it gets hard, most people, instead of working through it, they break up. And then you go meet the same person, same
Yep.
personality, same issues. And you keep doing it until you work through those traumas.
Right. So do you
Yep.
think because we don't I'm gonna say this because I know we as men, I'm gonna say this to women. As men, we're hypocritical because a lot of times women be cheating on us too, but we don't tell the world. Like a woman to go and be like, Hakeem cheated on me. Oh, I'm so hurt. And she get with her girlfriends and they sit on the couch and hug each other. Men don't do that shit. We ain't walking in the locker room saying, man, that bitch just fucked this nigga on me. Because everybody might start laughing. Are you staying with that chick? So we keep it to ourselves and hold it in. So niggas be getting cheated on too. But when you look at just the nature of a woman, I'm just trying to really understand why is it something that's just innate inside a woman, just naturally saying? Is it something that's outside of this conscious, out in the subconscious mind that's telling her, this is just the natural order of things? I mean, because I could be wrong. I'm just trying to figure it out.
Right.
I
Well,
didn't know that because even you think about it, most people who have been together for 30 or 40 years, there's been some adultery there. Because most men, especially, I said this earlier, a particular type of man, he is not going to only sleep with one woman for 35 and 40 years. Like, you can forget that shit. It's not realistic.
Go ahead, Tupe.
well, for me, the thing is, it is something outside of us that is telling women that you need to stay because men are going to cheat or whatever. It's what we're taught. We're taught not to even expect it, not to even expect men to be faithful, and that still has like grounding in tradition and what the roles were like. It's why women respond better to men who are older than them pairing off with somebody who's younger. So, in the natural order of things, the man is the provider. And so he would leave a cheater because then if you come back with another baby, that's wasted resources. He went out and he worked and he expended effort and part of his health and part of his time to gather those resources, and then to spend it on a kid that ends up not being his would be considered a waste. Men try to avoid losses like that. So you don't tell your friends you got cheated on because it means that there was something about that dude that made her put what you're providing at risk. It wasn't enough to keep her from being in this dude's face or in his company to cheat on you. Women stay because we're told that, well, how do you have no guarantee that the next dude ain't gonna do the same thing. You have like basically it shouldn't be a deal breaker. Oh, it was just the act. It was the equivalent of him blowing 1 month's rent on at the casino or something. It wasn't a big, huge deal. You got to stay because he's providing something way bigger than you getting mad about him just, hanging out with somebody for the evening.
Right. Yeah. This is, man, this relationship thing is, I'm trying to tell you, like actually dealing with this thing on from an intellectual level. It's so hard keeping the attention of people because we're not used to doing this stuff without arguing and beating up on each other. People don't want to hear it this way, Topaz. It's boring.
Well, with trauma comes disassociation. So a lot of times people fall into these rages where they literally have blacked out and that person is not cognizant and they're not there at that moment. You stepped into a trigger for them. So, a lot of them can't sustain watching this program. Like, I want to know how many people have to take breaks from listening to all of this because it's triggering, and then they just are angry and they're in this unhappy place and it feels uncomfortable. So they got to like put the video down for a while and then come back and look at it again. So because we've been traumatized and we continue traumatizing ourselves and one another, there's the tendency to disassociate. So, you get a lot of remorse after the fact. You get a lot of coming around with the head hung down and shame and guilt and regret because you blacked out and it was something that triggered you and you were not in control at that moment. And that's what I think. I see a lot of people on these panels just devolving. That's exactly what it is. It's devolving. It's settling into a dark sunken place where now you're cursing people out. You are now lashing out at somebody trying to hurt them at the way that you are hurting at that moment, but you can't pick up on the fact that you're hurt yet because all you know is attack.
Man, it's crazy. All right, so this is what we do. Rand, give us some closeout commentary on what you think we can do better as far as being couples. Give us a closeout, and we go right up the line.
Well, I'm gonna go back to like what's worked for us: communication and telling the truth. Like you got to be honest. You got to be open, and most importantly, you got to be willing to do the self work. You got to be willing to work through your personal issues because there's a reason. If you're a person who keeps finding yourself in these same type of situations and arguments, there's a reason you keep going through that until you figure out why. You're just doing it. You're gonna keep repeating. So thank you for having me, George. Appreciate it.
Always. We actually we got the next show coming up is going to be crazy. Topaz, bring us home.
Okay, well, what I think we could do differently, right? One is practicing point of view. A lot of times people get caught up in and they forget that you're supposed to be able to see things from the other person's point of view. It's why it's called the golden rule. Treat people how you think that, like, treat people how you want to be treated. The reason is that keeps us from dehumanizing people. You can't turn somebody into a robot and then get mad when they do robotic things. So if you keep remembering that people are human beings, you won't hurt them, which won't make them lash out at you. And that requires you to be able to see things from outside of yourself as well. That should be something that we're able to do as long as you're over the age of 25. Your executive functioning has finished. So you should be able to do it. And if you haven't, then that is a part of you that is stunted in growth. And you got to now stop time and figure out why. What stunted your growth? We're all at a state of arrested development. That's what we're seeing here. Now, there is a thing in psychology where you can tell where the trauma happened in a person's life by what age they behave like. There are a lot of adolescents because that's when a lot of Black people get hurt the most, is in their teenage years. They're not allowed to talk about the things that they're curious about. They're told that their very urges are disrespectful to the person that gave them life. So that is something that pushes all of your hurt and your pain and your wants back inside of you. And we have a lot of people that don't even know who they are or what they're good at or what they like. And so that comes out as, oh, well, nobody cared about my feelings, so I don't have to care about yours. Life isn't fair. Stop saying life isn't fair because we can make it fair.
Yeah, I want to address this here. T. Williams said if the men focus on building like they do fucking, our communities and families would be much better. Well, T. Williams, I want you to understand something and what we're teaching here. The mistake that you're making is you got to look at the words that you're saying. I'm going to read it again. I want you to hear the words. If the men focus on building like they do fucking, now let's deal with that word fucking. Are these men fucking
Yep.
the men? They're fucking other women. Our issues are collective because, like I said, a lot of these men are being raised by single moms or family structures that's not structured. So a lot of our boys are not being taught what it is to be a man, and a lot of our girls are not being taught what it is that they should be receiving from a man. So we got to be careful with the wording and the things that we say going forward because it triggers things and we draw battle lines because it's not just a problem with men fucking. It's a problem that is a problem with us understanding the importance of our seed and our women understanding the importance of what they have. And we don't value neither one of it. We just frisbee it away to each other like it's nothing. And lives are being born out of that with no structure. So we have a responsibility. That's why when I came to YouTube, I talk about black male accountability. But we also, T. Williams, got to talk about black women has to talk to black women about black female accountability. Because this is the thing. T. Williams, you might have a son, a nephew, an uncle, whatever. You have men in your family. And it's not just men. Because see, if it's certain things you would teach your son, but also, T. Williams, you know the nature of some women. So we got to be careful with our words and the things that we say. And see, this is the thing. It says it's still the man's fault you're the leaders. And I would agree with that, but let's put that in its proper perspective. Because, see, I see it a lot in YouTube, across YouTube, I hear a lot of talk about black men being leaders, but most people, I'm going to say this, T. Williams, most people today got microphones that shouldn't be talking. How can black men be leaders today in a system that they have never led? From the time we've been here, well, this is what you need to understand, T. Williams. Black men have never been the leaders of households in this system that we've been under. Never. Even from the time when they start breeding us here in the early 1800s when they stopped importing slaves. We have always been bred here and been conditioned to be under the foot of this system. And we have the black woman has always watched the black man have to fight against another man just to be human. So how could we ever be leaders? Where was it a time when the black woman ever looked at the black man and knew that she was able to move free with her man fully in position to protect her? We don't have that history. So no, we are not leaders. The only way we want to do this is understanding what we've been through and how to fix it. Because we've always had a devil in between us working his snake ways to keep us separate and draw us apart. And when I come across YouTube and I hear people talk without the historical references, I'm like, we never going to get this shit right. Because anytime you have your man, listen to me, the white woman has never had to watch her man go to another group of men to ask for rights. The white woman has never had to watch the white woman has never had to pull her man out of the street and tell him to keep his head down for fear of him getting hung. But the black woman had to endure that. The black woman had to go have sex with this white man and tell her husband to be quiet just so he don't get killed because he was ready to kill that white man. So no. The leaders, no. The black woman, since Big Mama, has been put in a position of leadership for a long time. Our idea of what a black family is totally different from a white man. Because we always seen the equality in each other and we had different roles. We didn't subjugate our women the way the white man subjugates women, period. So when we begin to understand this history and understand what men lead, show me where we've been leading. We've been go ahead, Topaz.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
No, I'm just because I want a lot of our women to understand this because we spit other people's rhetoric and we don't be having a clue what we're talking about. We have been fighting since we've been here just to be human. The black man has not had full autonomy over his family since we've been here. Right. So you're saying, so this is the thing. Watch this. So if we're son and that's the issue, what does that say about you? Because you're my woman. So if the black man is son, what are you? See, this is where we make the mistake. And this is why I do this. Because I'm going to tell you, Topaz, there's been so much battle lines drawn. It's easy for a black woman to come on here and see this your son, and that's still the issue. But if the black man is son, that means that the person that's connected to him is his woman, she's even more destroyed. Because
and what I want black men to understand is, like you said, the white woman has not had to watch her man ask anybody for rights, but what she has had to watch her man do was slaughter and torture people that had done nothing to him except for have something that he wanted and didn't want to work for, right? So that means when black men go over to these women who are Caucasian, that they are fucked up as well. It's just a different type of fucked up. You watch a man that you have to lay next to do something like that. So then when you date the black man, that is still in the back of your brain. You're just right now lulled. I mean, the white woman at that moment is just lulled into a place of, oh, at least this one isn't, out torturing people, and I can connect to him because both of us are scared of the white dude and what he might do. So when you mess up, she will go and get him to punish you because at least now it's still not her being the object of his rage. So I just want black men to know that when you're dating those women, you need to understand what it is that you're dating. Yeah. You're dating a woman that's running and that will throw you under the bus because she has been told, do not check me, do not question me. And it's definitely going to be a punishment for her being disloyal. So, just know that when y'all go over there.
Well, look at this. It says, I don't hook up. Why would you say that I'm married? I never said that you hooked up. I don't know if you're in here trolling or what, but let me put up your other comment. Now watch this, because this is where we make the mistakes. You said you can't lead, so you're still son. But I'm telling you, if the black man can't lead and we're son, what is the condition of the black woman? See, you keep exonerating yourself. If I can't lead and I'm son, then what is the condition of you? See, because the thing is this, show me a nation of women where they have a seat at the UN and they own military and they're encroaching on other people's land like men do. Women are vulnerable to whichever conquering man comes in. So if the black man has been conquered, then what does that say about the black woman? So if I'm son, then what are you? So what I'm
granddaughter.
Right. So what I'm trying to tell you is we're in this together. And when and no, see, look at this. See, this is what I'm talking about, Topaz. Look, and this is why I do what I do. Y'all want us to be leaders. No, I don't want you to be leaders. I'm teaching something, but see, a lot of y'all women are so hurt, y'all ears are closed off to listening. But this is why I did this stream today, Topaz, because what we're seeing right now is a woman whose ears are closed off to hear anything. Because if you're married, your husband is not leading the nation. And if he's a black man, he's a black man.
I just want to say, if black men are sonned, black women are granddaughtered, because we're going to be up under them no matter what we do. Make no mistake, even if they gave us degrees or all of that black men are talking about, it was done only to be able to, drive a wedge in between our natural orders. So, when they want to pull the plug on that, they absolutely will be able to do so. And nobody's going to be able to check them. And any time where you think that the woman is over the man is going to be in vain and useless. So we will be one generation underneath the man that's being sonned. We will be granddaughter, which is even worse.
So you say you want us to follow bullshit, but I got news for you, T. Williams.
You already are.
My name George Macon. Your name is T. Williams. We've been following bullshit. We speak English, T. Williams. We go to their universities. We go to their jobs, T. Williams. We've been following bullshit for a long time, sister. I'm sorry to tell you.
Right.
And the warrior class, what I think that you need to know, the warrior class that was in, a lot of them were murdered off. What we've given birth to in the last 100 years or so has been docile, of people that they were raising up to not fight. So what I'm saying to you is, if I'm son, then that means that you are destroyed. And the only thing that's going to fix this, and why I have these conversations, we have to know who we are as a people and begin to work this thing back together, because our culture is different from theirs. See, some people, I'm going to tell y'all something. People say this white man's culture, how he subjugated this woman, That wasn't a culture in Africa. No. Study the cultures. Study the history. Study the Native American history. Where the laws of the land went through the wombs of the woman. The woman always was a major integral part in what was going on in this family structure. So this big mama shit, man, this shit came from Africa. We wasn't them. We wasn't them. It's a whole different culture. So what I'm just trying to explain, what I'm trying to explain to you is we gotta look at our illnesses. Oh yeah, she trolling. Yeah,
so this is the thing. If you think that black men are offering you bullshit, then what is the standard you're measuring it against? What is it? Where did you get whatever it is that you think that the black men should be wanting us to follow that is opposite or opposed to what they're asking us to follow now? How are you so convicted that what black men are asking us for right now is wrong? What are you comparing it to? Where'd you get that from?
Read this, Topaz. Read this.
I see it.
Y'all just fucked. So a question I had to ask, she says she married. Are you married to a black man? And is this statement for him? See
and the fact, if you can call it the F word, that means to us it has a connotation of no feelings, just doing an act blindly, like like you're possessed. So if that's what you feel like black men are doing, know that means his mind has been captured. So have a little bit more, patience, have a little bit more understanding, and help guide him back to where he can be more conscious in his decisions of who to choose. You are married. You got a man already that chose and wanted a family, but you still live in a community of people where that's not the norm. Why do you think your marriage is safe if everybody else is out here with all this freelance fucking? Your marriage ain't safe either.
But she said y'all, so I'm trying to say, are you speaking about your husband too? When I'm asking you, T. Williams, does this comment that you made, is this for your husband? Y'all just want to fuck and travel to fuck. So are you is your husband present when you're speaking this way, or are you also including him in the y'all? So this is important. This is important because she said he's black. So
because if her husband is leading, if her husband is building something and not crying about women, then he needs to come on here and talk about how he got to be able to be in a place to do that.
No, here we
Otherwise, why are you here?
Here we go, Topaz. We're married but separated. Okay, I ain't got to say nothing else.
There we go.
Disgruntled. There you go.
Sound about right.
About right. Okay, I understand. T.
You see how you just waited and the answer comes. Because you see a relationship, has to be a two-way thing. There's no point me cutting and grooming myself as a man into a certain way if there's not a complementary woman for me to fit into, and she's ready to receive and complement what I'm going on with. This is the problem. You understand? We're thinking that these problems can be solved just from a one side of the fence. And again, if you don't understand where you're coming from, then this is where these problems in the now are going to be baffling, because you're just going to keep reacting rather than thinking carefully and problem solving. And again, if you don't examine your journey from which you came from, that's obviously going to have a knock-on effect to how you solve problems. Yeah, and I love telling people all the time in these conversations, we can stay talking about the negative forever. But if there isn't at some point a line in the sand where we clearly come to a consensus on how black men and black women are supposed to be and what we're not going to tolerate, then we'll forever be dealing with shit people. But at some point, if you know what attributes you're looking for, if you know what a true black man is and the value of that, you will find and seek that out. And if you're not around it, whether it be right now or in future tense, you will make moves to get away from it. And the same for men with women that are shit. I don't understand this wallowing in the dark place and nobody wants to move from it. And we just want to complain about it. It's got to stop.
Hey, look at this real quick, though. And I don't want nobody to laugh at T. Williams or make fun of him. But I'm going to show you why these shows are important. Because every time me and Richie do these kind of shows, we end up having to deal with this aspect of it. And I'm gonna tell you, she said now it's coming out. He cheated, right? Now I'm gonna show the second part. And I don't want nobody to laugh because it's not funny, right? But this is why we do the show. He's too busy raising the side chick's children. So now when she comes in angry, now I see where it comes from. But what I want the sister to know is when he's cheating, and while we talk about couples cheat, he's cheating with a woman too. There's a messed up woman, just as messed up as that man is, that's pulling her panties down to a man to have sex, most likely knowing he's married. But because our values are low, we're doing it on both sides. T. Williams, you might have been faithful to your husband, but there's another black woman that didn't care nothing about you. And still chose to sleep with your husband. Still, why y'all separated? Still choose to be in a relationship with a married man. So she has accountability too. So we're in this together. She's just as culpable. That's why we do this show. Why do they cheat? Because for every man that's cheating, there's a woman providing a service. Now, is that everybody? No. But what I need you to understand is when we do these shows to get understanding for what's really going on. And I'm sorry that he did that to you, but I need you to know that there's a flip side. There's a woman that's doing it too. So it's not just your husband. And we got to know that, and we're going to fix this problem, because we can't be at the table going to war when you got this preconceived notion about men, but not the actual women that you're standing next to. And some of these women that you're standing next to will sleep with your man right behind your back or right in front of your face. It's not just the men. We have a collective problem that we got to deal with.
And there's a problem if he's willing to stop raising his own kid to raise somebody else's kid. There's something that's going on with him. And I'm not going to be one of those people that say, oh, well, it's the wife's fault she wasn't taking care of him. No, that's stupid, because he's an adult. What I'm saying is there's something going on with him that you didn't know of, that had you known, you probably would not have married him.
Absolutely. And this is why we have, because a lot of our people, I'm telling you, Topaz, a lot of our people are in pain. They hurt. Men and women. Because I'm gonna tell you, Topaz, for every T. Williams, there's a T. Rogers.
Right.
That's having the same. It's a dude that's on here that will come on here and say the same thing T. Williams said. Man, I went to work every day and that bitch was cheating on me with the neighbor or something.
Yep.
And now she got a restraining order on me, and now she got a new boyfriend, and he see my son more than I see him. You know how many times I done heard that story?
Right.
It's a collective, man, and we gotta do more streams like this in order to get to the problem, to fix it. Because I'm sure she's hurt. Her husband is with some fucking side chick, and something like that's fucked up. So I understand her pain and why she came on the way she came on. The only thing that I would want her to understand is this is a collective thing, because the way you feel, T. Williams, it's another black man feeling the same way that the black woman did to him. Is a collective sickness. So let's begin to close out. Richie, close us out, and then I'll give my close out.
Yeah, I mean, all I'm gonna say is this. Yeah, again, it's not sexy, it's not exciting. Some people may want to hear more fireworks, but it's simple. Your first interactions start with your family. If you don't understand the correlation and the connection between your first interactions from the time you're born and those first family members, whether it be mum, dads, brothers and sisters, nans, aunts, uncles, grands, granddads, if those interactions have been tainted for you in some way, shape or form, or that you just bypassed those kind of healthy interactions, understand it will have a knock-on effect in your later run interactions with males and females in your sexual and real-time relationships. That's the first thing we gotta understand. The basis to most healthy situations start with a healthy black family. So I can't stress that enough. Me and George talk about it all the time. And again, you know, if you want the short answer for me on how can we address this going forward, future tense, is by repairing that black family structure. Other than that, being honest and open with yourself to begin with is again another key element. If you're not going to take the time to examine yourself, examine what you want and what you need, and voice those opinions strongly so you understand that you're getting what you're actually looking for, whether or not it's positive or negative, you take accountability for the fact of what you end up with, because you was clear in voicing what you really wanted. So if you don't have accountability, honesty with yourself, and you don't examine your own timeline as well as the person who you're trying to lay down with, you're setting yourself up for problems. So other than that, big up again for the show. It's been a pleasure talking with you two sisters. Definitely, I hope me and Jules can do something with you guys again. Big up to everybody in the chat room as always. If you haven't liked the video, please do it. If you're not subscribed, get subscribing and join us again, because we're going to be dealing with these real subject matters. You know what I'm saying?
I want to make sure y'all definitely go and subscribe to the Neutral Zone. And Topaz, what's the name of your channel?
A neo Nubian nuances, and it just means like I'm taking back what it means to be black. So this is the new black, and it's just my one person opinions and what I noticed, and it's just a subtle differences from other people. So I'm focusing on the collective of black people, our mental health, our strength, our life areas, and what we can do going forward.
All right. So, what I want to say is, we always have these type of conversations, and I tell people all the time, before you embarking on a relationship and you watching these videos, I hope that you guys are paying attention. You have to really start looking at yourself. Take an inventory of what it is that you think you like. Look at your choices in the last 10 years, whether work, relationships, the way you deal with money, the way you deal with your children. What type of choices, what type of energy are you bringing to you in your life? These things are important. It's time that you take a look at yourself in the mirror and look at who you are and what you've become. Because what you've become is what you draw to.
Right.
And a lot of times it's not the people fault, it's you. But you refuse to see yourself. You're just looking at everybody else. So remember, I love my people more than they hate themselves. And I pray to the universal creator most high that these words was enough to inspire you. These words was enough to make you look at yourself in the mirror and make change. These words was enough to make you look at your children and know you have to make change. I hope that when you came in for information, and when you leave here, you leave greater than what you was before you came. You leave here edified. I hope that you shared this information with your children. Share it with your wife. Share it at the job. Share it under the water cooler. Call your sister up and have a conversation. Talk to your friends about it. Your girlfriends, your homeboys. Talk to them about cheating. Talk to them about the mental health of our community, the undiagnosed PTSD that we deal with, and why we make the decisions that we make. Stop taking your homies side, even when you know he's wrong. If you really love your homie, your homegirl, love them enough to tell them the truth, even if it's unpopular. Love them enough to tell them the truth, even if it hurts their feelings, because they're gonna respect you for it in the long run. We got to stop pussyfooting around and wait until some girl hurts your son. Now she's a floozy, or talking hypersexualized talk around our boys, teaching them that it's okay to look at every girl ass when she walked by, or having conversations around our son about how we sexed the girl last night. So now he normalizes that. And when he gets around a girl, he's rubbing on asses and trying to sex everything that he knows and everything that he sees. At what point do we take responsibility for our children and the things that we manifest into our life? At some point, you got to take a stand, because if you have children, your children are at risk, because you refuse to take a stand to be better. You refuse to take that look in the mirror and know you have to make change. You refuse to take that look in the mirror and know you have to make change for your children to create a better tomorrow. So when we see people come into the chat and they talk about the things that they've been through, this is what these streams are for. Because it only takes one to open the floodgates. And we've been here for 2 hours and 44 minutes and 13 seconds. And at the end of the show, somebody came in with it. Because that's what these shows are for you to drop your shoulders and just to be vulnerable and transparent, so we can begin to heal and get the help that we need. If we ain't getting this out of the 2 hours that we spent, then what was it all for? You just wasted 2.5 hours of your life for what? I don't come here to entertain you. I come here just to have a conversation. So remember, I love you. Till the next time. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah, we got.
Thanks
we
for
got